Howdy do, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And welcome to episode 209.
Oh, yes.
Have you ever thought what it's like to be wanderers in the fourth dimension?
Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
There's no point in being grown up if you can't be childish sometimes.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the Doctor!
Great men are forged in fire. It is the privilege of lesser men to light the flame.
I'm the Doctor. This is Rose Tyler. She's my +1. Is that all right?
That would be me.
Hello. Surprise!
Boom,
Etc. I'm the Doctor. Do everything I tell you. Don't ask stupid questions. And don't wander off.
how can you kidneys? I don't like the colour.
Howdy do, Who fans. Hope you've all had a cracking week. And that you've managed to do something Doctor Who related. Yeah, there's a bit of a given at the minute, seeing as there's new Doctor Who on the telly.
Yeah, well, you'd like to think, wouldn't you? Yeah.
On the telly box. I don't know anyone that's not. All of the Who fans that we've had the privilege to chat to and all of our listeners over the years, I think pretty much everyone. I know we've had a couple of people in the past that have said, this is trash, I've given up on Who, I'm not watching anymore.
Trash.
Complete trash. But yeah, I think everyone's watching it for one reason or another these days.
Yeah. It seems to be, yeah.
Yeah. I think the Beeb are fairly happy anyway. The viewing figures are, well, more than we were expecting, put it that way.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the viewing figures when we get into the news. I've got a bit of news regarding viewing figures. But yeah, so they've been very healthy, pretty much. So yeah, I should think the BBC are pleased with the way things are going. I just can't believe we've only got 4 episodes left, mate. I'm actually waking up thinking about it as well, which is incredibly sad. But I sort of wake up and think, it's episode 7 this week. That means, I'm thinking these things. So it's like, I just don't want it to end, really. I'm just starting to sort of really get comfortable with things, and then they're going to be gone. And it seems like we're going to have such a massive wait to the next series, doesn't it? Although we may have a special. We may have a special in the middle. We just don't know yet, do we?
Yeah.
Whether it be a Christmas special or a New Year's Day special or whatever, Easter special, I don't know. There'll be something, I think.
I'd like to keep because we weren't too fussed, were we, when they moved the broadcast from Saturday to Sunday, and we weren't too fussed. I was actually
pleased. Yeah. There's a lot. Do you remember all that? A lot of people didn't like it, and it's Doctor Who's Saturday night. But no, I was quite pleased actually. It's definitely worked out better for me as well. I've managed to watch every single episode live so far, touch wood. I don't know about you, but yeah, so I've been quite pleased with the Sunday night thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so with the exception of me being away, all the others I've managed to be in front of the TV, ready to rock and roll. But yeah, we're okay with that. But where it concerns the specials, I'd like to keep it on Christmas Day. That it's just a nice, I don't know, it's just something about it once you've filled yourself up with plenty of Christmas dinner and you've had a couple of drinks and you're on the sofa and a bit happy and lethargic, and then Who cracks on, and yeah, it's a good way to pass an hour.
I know what you mean. I'll be honest with you. I'd be quite happy with New Year's Day.
Oh, you would?
Because there was a time when sort of early on in the Tennant era where the family would be reasonably quiet during Doctor Who because they'd sort of get into it quite a lot. And then it's sort of over the years that diminished. I mean, I remember the last Christmas special, I didn't even bother trying to hear it over. They just weren't interested in watching it. And I spend every Christmas with my family. So, it's on the telly now, but it's just no point. I just sort of watch it for the visuals and then try and, get to grips with the story later by watching it again. Normally absolutely plastered about midnight on Christmas Day. So I think if it was on a New Year's Day, I'll probably be incredibly hungover, but at least there's very little chance I'll be leaving the house. So I'll be quite happy to have something to look forward to, I think. So it's a bit of a win-win, really. I mean, I don't mind which day it's on. As long as it's on one of those, I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
To be fair, yeah.
I think we will get one, though. There was a bit of chatter, wasn't there, weeks ago that the Beeb wasn't going to do one, and then Chibbers alluded to it fairly confidently in an interview, and So we just don't know when.
If it's not on Christmas Day, though, I can imagine Stephen Moffat throwing like a bottle of red wine at the TV set. Because didn't he? The whole reason he did Twice Upon a Time was supposed to be because it meant Doctor Who secured its place at Christmas or something. I can't remember the politics of it, but I think there is that notion, wasn't it? That he's, did that. Just imagine if Chibbers has just thrown that out the window straight away. You.
Yeah. The Moff's wife's like, yep, we need another TV. That's the third one this week.
It's got a hammer through it.
Yeah, just the Moff just absolutely steaming in his chair. Just yeah. Oh god.
Oh dear. That is strange to think, isn't it? That despite what your thoughts are on Twice Upon a Time, it's weird to think that we only sort of got that to sort of keep a Christmas special on the rotors or whatever. But because it's a strange F, isn't it? But I wouldn't want it not to be there. It's a special that, despite having a very weak story, there are moments in it that I love. Mainly just Bradley. Even though it's such a contrast, that episode, isn't it? Because I hate the way he's written, but there's so many moments where I just love him in it. It's just weird to think we wouldn't have got that if it wasn't for this BBC politics. Strange.
It is a strange one, mate.
And Capaldi would have regenerated at the end of Series 10 as well.
Yep, true.
True. So it would have been it's like an alternative universe of what could have been.
It's a timey-wimey.
It does make perfect sense, actually, when I think about that scene of him lying down saying, I'd hope there'd be stars, which I thought was a beautiful line. That's nice. It does, so you can almost imagine that would have been the regeneration, I assume, is it all starting then. It would have been quite a good way for him to go, actually. But anyway. Yeah.
Anyway.
Instead of holding it back. Yeah, but anyway.
Anyways, we have got some news and merch coming up.
Gosh, we got loads. Old Dalek Tat's tray's almost overflowing this week.
It's been busy. That's been busy.
Isn't it? Yeah.
You been all right though, buddy? Anything exciting the last few weeks? Been quiet for me, really.
Yeah, a little bit quiet. I'm gearing up for the BFI this Saturday that me and you are both going to. So we're going to see Earthshock on the big screen at the BFI in London.
Yep, get to see Adric get his comeuppance one more time on the big screen. Go on, get out of it. Sling your hook.
I wish we were sat together, because obviously, like when they go on sale, they sell it pretty quick, so you just have to jump in and get whichever seat. But just be safe, because there's that scene that always makes me laugh where he's sort of holding his rope, and then the sideman comes in and sort of goes, and he just pulls this horrified face, and I can imagine you just cracking up. But I'm so looking forward to that. It's going to be one hell of a Who meetup. I think everybody we've ever spoke to ever, whether it be on social media or in real life, is going. It's going to be one hell of a Who meetup. I'm almost I'm as excited about that, of getting sloshed in the bar afterwards, as I am about actually watching Earthshock on the big screen. It's just going to be such a good day. And Eric Saywood and Matthew Waterhouse are going to be doing a Q&A at that event as well. And I think that's going to be really interesting, because hopefully Matthew will be sloshed like he was last time we saw him at the BFI, because he was hilarious on stage. He had a few. Yeah. And Eric Saywood, I've never met him at anything. I've seen him on loads of special features on DVD stuff, and I just find him a fascinating person to listen to, because he's very candid. He doesn't sort of mince his words, and he says what he wants, whether it's good or bad, and I kind of like that. So I think we're in for a good mix on that stage, even though it's just those two, because I think at one point we were hoping they might add more, but I think actually those two together are going to be a good, possibly explosive, I don't know, they're going to be a good interesting mix, I hope. And so it's just, oh man, that Saturday can't come soon enough, I tell you. I'm just so excited about it.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. Hopefully they'll ply Matthew with plenty of wine before the Q&A so he doesn't hold back. But.
Oh, brilliant. I just hope they're in the BFI bar afterwards like they normally are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I mean, I can't... It's just one of those awesome times. We've said it so many times before. If you can ever get to an event where there's loads of other Who fans knocking around all in one place to watch something on a big screen, it's well worth it.
So yes, absolutely can't wait for that, buddy. Apart from that, picked up the Doctor Who annual this week or last week. Well, I've lost track of the days.
Bit thin on the ground, was it though? Page count.
It is thin on the ground. Yeah, it's thin on the ground, but I really like it actually, because it's I guess I think this is I don't think they were given much to go on. So it seems to me like they've had to produce some Series 11 content with about 3 different promotional shots. You know, I can see Chibbers sort of at his desk saying they can have that one, this one, and that one. And that's your lot. And, you know, I'm not telling you anything about it because basically the first half of the annual, or pretty much the first 3/4 of it, is all the previous Doctors, which, to be honest, I love it. I like that, but I can tell it's probably not what they would have. You know, I think they would have initially liked to have had just all new stuff, but no. So it's mostly like all the classic Doctors, you know, including War Doctor and stuff, and just 2 little pages on each, and it's really nice actually. I really like it. And then the sort of back half of the annual, you finally get to the 13th Doctor, and there's a few little typical, you know, annual things like spot the difference or whatever, and a nice little comic strip and stuff. So it is thin on the ground. It's very thin actually, but it is a nice little annual, I've got to say. Do you ever buy the annuals? Are you an annual person?
Yes and no.
I'm going to take that as a no.
Well, I like to pick them up. You can normally find them in WH Smith on Boxing Day for about 50p.
I was going to say, because of the sort of thinness of this annual, I think it's one to get when it's reduced. Like I would because I think the retail price is like $7.99, which quite frankly is way too much for what it is. But I think if you could get this for like £3 or £4, it's a really nice little pickup actually.
Yeah, they normally do them super cheap, like straight after Christmas. I'd sometimes pick them up then, but there is a side of me that wants to go sort of retro hunting a little bit and try and pick up the old annuals. You know,
I love the old annuals. Yeah.
So I might start that adventure at some point, knocking around on Fleabay. And
I'll tell you, that's a dangerous thing to start, because once you get a couple, you think, oh, I've got a gap there, I must get that one, but it's £50 on Amazon and on eBay even. But I love the classic annuals. They're something else. There's a Pertwee one which is incredibly hard to get, and I forget the year, but I just love the cover on it. And it's one of the rarest apparently. Yeah. And I know it always goes for really, really lots of money, but yeah, so it's an expensive game to get into, that one. The only other thing of interest actually is just a little side note really. I like my Titans. You know I love my Titans, and there's this new Doctor Who Titan set coming out called the Renegade Collection or something. It was I think it was initially called the Master Collection, and it seems to have been delayed and I think it's been delayed again. But there's only this time I'm not really that bothered about the figures. There's about, normally I like pretty much all of them, and there's normally one clanger in there like a River Song or whatever. With this set, to be honest, there's only about 3 that I like. And one of those, I thought, well, I like the Unearthly Child TARDIS because it's basically a black and white TARDIS. But it bugged me that it hadn't got the St. John's Ambulance sticker on it. Because I was like, well, if it's supposed to be Unearthly Child, it should be on there. And they've had it on there before. So is it just, have Titans taken their eye off the ball? Do they not care about detail anymore? What's going on? So anyway, I got a little tweet from Titan the other day because I tweeted them just saying, just shame the St. John's Ambulance badge isn't on there. Like, it's been pointed out. I thought by now, with the amount of delays, it might have been rectified and been put on there, but seems that hasn't happened. And they tweeted back to say, well, the reason it hasn't happened is because we were told we can't get the licensing for it anymore. So you probably won't see that on any merchandise to Doctor Who related anymore. And I thought, that's interesting. So that now I'm only reading into this, so take it with a pinch of salt. But A, is that the reason it didn't appear on the new Jodie's TARDIS, or did Chibbers decide what to get rid of it? We don't know. And B, if character do any sort of Matt Smith merchandise, or actually not just character, but if anybody does any sort of retro merchandise in the future to do with the 11th Doctor, does that mean it's not going to have the St. John's Ambulance stick on the TARDIS? Because, as fans will be screaming out saying, well, that's not the 11th Doctor's TARDIS. And, I'm talking sort of in the future sort of thing, because obviously we don't want the 11th Doctor's TARDIS at the minute. We want the new one. But, yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting, really. Just made me think about future merchandise. And I quite like that little St. John's Ambulance badge on there, to be fair. But
that's interesting, mate.
Yeah, just a little interesting tweet. I wasn't expecting it either. I honestly just thought, and no offense to Titan, because, I love their stuff. But, yeah, I honestly just thought they'd made a bit of a boo-boo and left it off. But, no, actually, we're not allowed to use it.
Well, that kind of makes sense. It's not on the new TARDIS, so...
that was the other thing. I just thought, I wonder if that's why. Maybe, I wonder if either Chibbers didn't want it on there, which is, to be honest, what I suspect, because I think he just wanted to really change everything this year. But yeah, there is part of it that could be that they said, no, there's a licensing problem with it. Don't know. We shall probably never know. Never know. But that's me done, mate. Really, I haven't really done much. And you say you've not been up to much?
No, not really. I've been...
No?
Yeah,
no
like
big
I said,
finish or anything?
No, well, yeah, I haven't had a chance to catch up on the recent big finish that I picked up last week. So I haven't had a chance to dive into that yet. Just like you, mate, looking forward to the BFI this Saturday. The Blu-ray box set for Series 19 has been pushed back a little bit. You probably saw.
No, yeah, again.
We all knew that was going to happen.
We know.
To be honest with you, I'd rather they pushed it back and got it right rather than rushed it out with mistakes or problems. So,
well, absolutely. I just hope that's the case, because I do remember season 12 kept getting pushed back, and it was supposedly to, in brackets, correct the mistakes, wasn't it? And then it came out and it still had the mistakes. So I don't know what happened there. So yeah, it would be. I don't mind if it's delayed a little bit, as long as it comes out and we don't have any issues with it. It'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, unrelated to who, but we said goodbye to Stan Lee this week.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
It's really sad, but
very sad.
Sad in a way, but what a life that guy had, though. Crikey.
I know. Amazing. Amazing.
All of the stuff that he invented from his early years is just, you wouldn't imagine without, in pop culture, all of the characters and everything. You just wouldn't imagine a world without all of the stuff that came out of his brain,
Absolutely, mate. When we talk about someone leaving a legacy behind, I mean, gosh, that couldn't apply to anyone more than him, I don't think. Yeah. He's an incredible backlog of things to enjoy for many years. Yeah, it's quite incredible, the stuff that come from that man.
Indeed. Yeah. I can imagine Marvel stuff just going on and for much longer than Stan Lee was with us. It's like you said, mate, it's a bit of a legacy. It's crazy.
Absolutely amazing legacy. And I love all the cameos. I love it. I love his cameos. I mean, they have just become such a thing, haven't they? And I think my favourite one, and I forget which film is it, where he's in the library with the headphones on, rocking away, and all the stuff's going on behind him. It must be a Marvel film, is it?
Oh, it is, yeah. It's, I don't remember that one.
My mind's gone blank. Anyway, that's the one I like. But yeah, I love all the little cameos from him, and yeah, it's very, very sad.
Indeedy. Yeah.
95, wasn't he?
95, yeah.
95, yeah.
Yes, and even up to his latest interviews that he did, you can tell he still had all his marbles. He was still
absolutely, yeah,
completely
he's still
with it.
Rocking, wasn't it? Yeah, I know.
Anyways, say goodbye to Stan Lee, but moving back to Doctor Who, we have got a bit of news and merch to do.
Okay.
First up, something that really burns the bacon, mate. Big time.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. So, Cardiff Council, was it earlier this year or last year? They said that they were no longer going to fund the, whatever it was, the lease on the building for the Doctor Who exhibition.
Oh, yeah.
In Cardiff Bay. Yep.
Yeah.
And now I can see two sides to this, because they're saying that because the experience didn't pull in enough visitors over the time of the lease, there's a shortfall. So there's like a big £1 million bill.
There was a big bill, yeah.
That that Cardiff Council and the taxpayers of Cardiff have, they've got to foot the bill for that. So I see that point of view. I really do.
I've just had a vision of like bailiffs coming in and taking away like Yetis and Davros and Daleks over their shoulders. Come on. Yeah. Got to get this money back.
Yeah, to me, to you. Sardis out the door. Come on.
That's it, yeah.
And so there's a big bill. I get all that. I understand that in their eyes, they didn't pull in enough visitors, didn't make enough money. So, goodbye Doctor experience, which still baffles me because I think I went there 3 times over the span of, 3 years, I suppose.
Yeah.
And every time I went, it was rammed. Every time. And every time I spoke to other people that went there, it was also really, really busy when they went as well. Anyway.
Yeah.
The guys over at the Cardiff Council have realised that they probably need an exhibition of some kind in Cardiff. So they're going to stick one in Cardiff Castle. Which is interesting. It's a much better location, I would say. purely because it's smack bang in the middle of Cardiff. You don't have to go over to the bay. You don't have to go, anywhere else. It's in the middle of the city pretty much, because if those of you that have been to Cardiff will know that as you're coming into Cardiff sort of town centre, if you like, on one side of the road is the town and on the other side of the road is the castle. So it's, it's all in the mix, so to speak.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of me that just thinks, well, because apparently this is going to open next year, summertime. Apparently. Summer 2019. But there's a part of me that just thinks, well, in the meantime, why don't you just leave the exhibition open in Cardiff Bay? Because although you weren't hitting the numbers you wanted to, at least you're going to have some kind of income, some kind of income to pay off that bill, if you like. And I'm probably very naive in terms of the business side of things with that. But yeah, it's just a shame because we had plans to go back there and then they closed it. And we thought, okay, they're probably going to open up some hard to get to, very expensive one in London for a while and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And now they're just like, oh no, we're going to have another one. We're just going to move it all to, I don't know. But what do you reckon, mate? Are you up for this?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was really pleased when I heard they were going to open a new exhibition. And yeah, I've been to the castle and I think, yeah, it's great. It was used for some of the filming as well, which is good. None of the episodes I remember when I went to the castle thinking, where's that fireplace from Heaven Sent? Oh, it's a different castle. All right. But yeah, no, I think it's cool. Part of me wonders where in that castle they're going to have it though, because it's a bit like a sort of the opposite of a TARDIS. It looks big from the outside, but actually inside it's quite small, if I remember right. There's lots of narrow little walkways and stuff. But I'm thinking, where are they going to put an exhibition? Because it's not like the one that was in Cardiff, which had that purpose-built building, which was a fantastic, and it was huge, wasn't it? It was absolutely huge. So I've got to be honest. I can't help but think this is going to be quite small, unless there's a part of that castle I haven't seen.
No,
so it's not going to be like a big exhibition like we got in Cardiff before. I don't think, anyway. I mean, I'm just assuming, but we'll see. Yeah, so I'm pleased it's going back. In fact, I'm delighted there's going to be an exhibition in Cardiff. But I actually really like the location because, it's a little bit out of it, but you had to walk past where they filmed all Torchwood and all that. So I felt like I was stepping into the exhibition before I even got to it, because I'm like, I'm outside the Millennium Centre where it all, New Earth was filmed, and there's the tower where they go down in Torchwood. And I felt like I was in it before I got there. And then you go round the corner and there's Eddie's Diner where they filmed loads of times. Yeah. And then you'd go the other way and you'd end up at the exhibition, which I said was amazing. And then if you carried on walking, you were at the studios, which name I can't pronounce. How do you say it?
That one.
Studio, yeah. Where they actually film BBC. So it felt like you were right in the heart of all the filming locations as well as the exhibition. So I loved where it was before, to be honest with you. But yeah, to me, I'm just glad they're reopening one, to be honest. I just think it'll be a scaled down version. I just hope it's not just like, a little room with like a few pictures on the wall and a couple of costumes. And I hope it's not a half-hearted exhibition, because, I'm just thinking size-wise, mate. Where are they going to put all that stuff? They can't fit it all in that castle. Unless they got a dungeon downstairs. I don't know.
No,
maybe they got
a
massive dungeon. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm very pleased that they're doing something anyway, that it's coming back. So.
No, you are right. We went to Cardiff Castle a few months ago when we were there. And it's fairly sizable, but it's not big enough to put... I don't think they're going to have all the stuff that was in the old one over there. There's just not enough. Unless they make a purpose-built building somewhere. I don't know, but...
Demolish the castle and put a big old modern structure up.
A huge TARDIS, like...
like Trenzalore.
Like Trenzalore, yeah, massive TARDIS.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. But I don't know. Well, either way, we'll have to go and check it out.
Of course, yeah. Summer next year.
Yeah, do a little report down there. Good stuff. Right, going on to Series 11, and we've got some ratings. Talked a little bit about ratings earlier, but the Saranga Conundrum has now got its official rating. Now they've added all the other bits and bobs on top of the overnights, and it came in with a very good 7.76 million viewers. So once they'd added on all the old tablet watching and PC watchers and all those things, it bumped up quite a bit. So yeah, that's a good viewing figure, I think, for anyone who listened to last week's podcast know we weren't very impressed with the episode, but a very good figure, I think, and continuing along the lines of being a strong series, this one, in terms of figures. Having said that, the overnights for Demons of the Punjab has had a drop. Nothing to worry about too much, but it's the overnights were 5.77 million, which is obviously the lowest so far for this series. That'll go up, obviously, once they've added all the bits and bobs. But yeah, it's a bit of a drop, and I don't know. The sort of the pessimist in me thinks a lot of people may have been turned off by the Saranga conundrum. I think because he got such a mixed reaction. I think, it's a good couple of million down, and I just think maybe just people are like giving up on it, which I really hope is not the case. But yeah, it's a shame to see the figures sort of dropping quite in chunks rather than little drips, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So I don't have it in front of me. I don't know what the overnight was for Saranga conundrum. I don't think I've got it here, but obviously it was higher than 5.77 million. So
it was. I think it was 6.8 or something like that.
Right.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So nothing to really worry about. Just a little bit disappointing. But obviously we'll report back when we get the final figure for Demons, just to see how that does fare, because it does change quite dramatically once they add on all the iPlayer and stuff. So
yeah.
We'll
see. I think
we'll see.
I think the consolidated figures will be fairly good for that one.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And last bit of news, we've got some confirmed titles and some blurb for the last two episodes of this series. So episode 9, the title is "It Takes You Away."
Okay.
Which is weird. On the edge of a Norwegian ford, in the present day, the Doctor, Ryan, Graham and Yaz discover a boarded up cottage and a girl named Hannah in need of their help. What has happened here? What monster lurks in the woods around the cottage and beyond? Might be a creepy one.
Sounds a little bit like Hyde. That has the potential from that synopsis to be really creepy and scary, so let's hope it is.
Yes, let's hope it's a behind the sofa episode, that one. And episode 10, the finale, is called The Battle of Ranskor Av Kolos.
Oh, Chibbers. Do stop it.
On the planet of Ranskor Av Kolos lies the remains of a brutal battlefield, but as the Dr. Graham, Yaz and Ryan answer 9 separate distress calls, they discover the planet holds far more secrets. Who is the mysterious commander with no memory? What lies beyond the mists? Who or what are the Uks? The answers will lead the Doctor and her friends towards a deadly reckoning.
Ooh. Do you know what jumps out at me is 9 separate distress calls, and we will have had 9 previous episodes where probably all the villains have escaped. Is it going to be what we thought? Are they all going to come back as one big Marvel-like army? I don't know. Is that just a coincidence, or did you think that as well?
I think it's a coinky-dink.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope so.
Yeah. So episode 9 is written by Ed Heim and directed by Jamie Childs, and episode 10 is written by Chibbers, as you can guess, and directed by Jamie Childs also. So direction point of view, very, very good. We'll just have to see on this finale, because as we've commented on previously in series 11 so far, the episodes written by the Chibbers haven't really...
No, they haven't been doing it.
Yeah.
And what is that title? The Battle of Ranskor Av Kolos.
Yes, the battle of that planet.
God, dear. Anyway, we shall see. Hopefully it'll be good. I mean, we do need it to go out on a great final. Yeah, we do need a good ending to this series. Blimey.
Might just be a bunch of new Slovene legging around, farting everywhere. Sounds a bit like Ranskor.
Valeric Pretorius, yeah.
Anyway, that's it for news. Should we get our metal friend in with his overloaded tray?
Yeah, let him wobble in like a remembrance Dalek with all this stuff. Go on.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
DVDs.
I remember those.
Should hope you do. Seeing as you've got 100 of them.
Thousands.
Yeah. DVDs. we like new DVDs. Koch Media has released their latest one, which is called The Doctor's Villains. You've heard us talk about these before. They're the sort of third-party, unofficial DVDs that Koch Media put out. You've got all of these so far, I'm pretty sure.
I've got them all so far, apart from this one, but I'll tell you a little story about it in a second. Yeah, I've got them all, and I like them.
Yes, so this one is it's the definitive set of interviews with a group of actors who brought the villains of Doctor Who to life and sent you, quote-unquote, behind the sofa. So this special release has 5 long interviews with Ian Collier, who was Omega in Arc of Infinity, Bernard Arkad, who was Marcus Scarman in Pyramids of Mars. That might be a good one. David Goodison, who was Davros in Destiny of the Daleks. Peter Miles, who was Nyder in Genesis. Julian Glover, Scareth from City of Death. That'd be a good one. And a tribute to Roger Delgado as well, from the cast and the crew that worked with him. It's a 2-disc special edition, over 5 hours of content. Give you an insight into the making of Doctor Who, specifically the monsters and villains. Introduction by Nick Briggs. And it's out now, apparently.
It is out now, and 2 days ago, a couple of days ago, I was in HMV and I saw it and I was like, yeah, because I really, when you just want to buy something because you're out shopping and you haven't got anything. I saw the spine, the Doctors, the villains. I was like, yes, right. Excellent. And they're normally quite cheap as well. I think they're normally $9.99, $12.99, somewhere around there. So, yeah, I grabbed it off the shelf, all pleased that I'd found a little treat for the day. And then I rattled it, and this is my absolute pet hate with DVDs, because obviously it's sealed as well, so I can't check both the discs were rattling around inside it.
Oh, no.
And I hate that. Yeah. I absolutely hate it. I couldn't bring myself to buy it, because if there was the slightest scratch, even if it played all right, I don't care. I cannot stand it when discs are rattling around in the box. So I put it back, and I haven't got it yet. But I will get it.
Right.
No, I couldn't bring myself. It was $12.99 as well, and I have seen it cheaper from Galaxy 4. They're $9.99 delivered. So I thought, I'm not going to pay £3 more and have a load of scratched discs when I can get it for a tenner from Galaxy 4. Yeah. So I haven't got it yet, but I will be getting it. It looks quite good. I like the sound of the tribute to Roger Delgado, because he's very prominent on the cover. And before the synopsis, I was thinking, is there an interview with him that I don't know about? But yeah, that's what it is. So looking forward to that.
Yes, sounds good.
Yeah. Okie dokie. In other merch news, so there's Christmas is coming, believe it or not. It's not that far away. And our friends at Lovarzi are launching some new Doctor Who stuff for Christmas. I don't know about you, mate. I love Lovarzi stuff. They recently released the season 18 scarf, the shorter version. And it's lovely. I got one this week or last week. I lost track of the day. It's so nice. And I have got a Christmas jumper, but it's not from them. So they're actually bringing out their own Doctor Who Christmas jumper, which looks really cool. I think it's like a sort of grey and white with the TARDIS and Daleks on it. What else has it got on there? Snowflakes. But so that's coming out. They're releasing some. This will make you laugh. When I first saw this, I thought these were oven gloves.
Do you know what I did?
Did exactly you? The same. Yeah. Good. Yeah. I thought it was just me. They're not. They're ladies' gloves. Gloves for ladies. And they've got the Pandorica, the Van Gogh exploding TARDIS across them. So I'm assuming these will be like silky. Does it say on there what they are? I'm assuming these will be a nice. Oh, they're a velvet feel fabric. So ooh, yeah. So yeah, before anyone jumps down my neck, because I'm sure there are men out there that can buy these as well. It does say on the blurb from Lovarzi they are ladies' gloves. That's not me being sexist or anything, but they look pretty cool. And but this is my favourite, mate. They're also releasing a scarf, a new scarf, and I love a scarf, which has got the Telos cyber symbol pattern across it, and it says at the bottom, "We will survive." So it's basically a Tomb of the Cybermen inspired scarf. So that's the one I've got my eye on, and the Christmas jumper. Although I have already got one, but I'm quite tempted to get a new one because I've spilled gravy down the other one, so I might just get a new one. But any of these grabbing you, mate? You into any of this stuff?
Yes, I really like I really like the Christmas sweater.
I thought you would. I can imagine you rocking that.
Yeah.
Hey, am I saying it right? Is it Lovarzi?
Lovarzi.
Never sure if I'm saying it right, but they've done all the the Doctor Who scarves in the past and the question mark umbrella. So I guess our listeners will be quite familiar with their stuff. But,
I like the I've got a Christmas jumper from a couple of years ago. I don't know if Lovarzi did that one though. It's the bright blue one with.
I remember when you got it. I don't think it was them actually. I think that was when the good old BBC shop was still going. I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
something to do with them. But yeah.
Yeah. So I've been looking for a new one, and this one fits the bill. I think it's a very nice looking.
I can totally see you in that. I think you should get it, and I'll get the scarf because if I get that jumper, I know it'll just look disastrous on me. Whereas you'll probably be able to rock that one.
Yeah, I'll get that. You get the scarf then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I might just I'll get my partner the oven gloves.
Not that you're hinting at anything, but
no.
41 days until the big day.
Oh gosh,
it's coming around quick, like you said. So some good merch, Crimbo wise from Lovarzi.
Very nice stuff. Yeah.
Other merch stuff. Mr. Davison, the Fifth Doctor, is going to be into an adventure with Jenny.
Jenny, yeah, I guess this was, it's weird. This seems like an obvious pairing up, doesn't it? And I hadn't thought about it, but it seems quite an obvious thing to do now.
It does, yeah. Mm-hmm. So Georgia Tennant, who plays Jenny, is going to team up with her real-life father, Peter Davison, for an adventure in the upcoming Legacy of Time, which is the special 20th anniversary of Big Finish Doctor Who release that's out in July, I think, next year.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be interesting. I'm wondering if there's going to be any other timey-wimey stuff going on. I hope that this is going to sound weird, but I hope that they don't include Tennant in this one. Because Jenny's, she's essentially the 10th Doctor's daughter.
Mm.
But I just hope that they allow these two to crack on a cool adventure together for Big Finish. And so next year, and the adventure that these two are in is called Relative Time, written by Matt Fitton. Mm. So Jenny meets an earlier regeneration of her father, and together they'll need their wits about them to defeat Time Lord the Nine, played by John Heffernan.
Mm.
Yes. Disaster strikes inside the time vortex, throwing together the Fifth Doctor and his future daughter Jenny, and the Nine sees an opportunity to steal something huge, as well as, because Georgia, she had her own series, didn't she, for Big Finish, or her own box set a little while ago.
That's right, yeah.
Did you get that? Because I didn't. Was it any good?
I didn't get it.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I'm afraid that there's so much coming out from these guys at the minute, I just can't afford it all, but no, I didn't.
Yeah. This new set, The Legacy of Time, could be amazing.
Well, I'll definitely get this. I must admit, I haven't pre-ordered it yet because it's £40, which is quite a lot of money.
It's a big old set though, for what you get.
Yeah, but they take the money straight away, so I'm going to order it a bit closer to the time. But I'll definitely get it.
Yeah. So for The Legacy of Time, it says time is collapsing. Incidents of temporal chaos and devastation are appearing throughout the many lives of the Doctor and his friends. Fallout from one terrible disaster. The Doctor must save history itself, and he will need all the help he can get. Sounds big and epic.
It does, yeah. Yes. That's good.
Yes.
Right, other news and on the merch side of things is that Character Options have already reissued their toy of the Sonic screwdriver. So the 13th Doctor Sonic version 2 is out now. So it seems like they've addressed a few issues with it, but not all of them. So basically this one, the first thing they've done is vastly improved the box so that you can actually see the thing. Because I'm guessing they probably hadn't seen the Sonic when they first put together the packaging, because basically you couldn't really see much of it. So now they've sort of put the window higher up so you can actually see it. And they've given the paintwork on it much more detail. So whereas before it was just painted a really plain silver with no sort of weathering or anything to it at all, they've now put a sort of a what would you call it, mate? A
more sort of weathered feel to it.
It's actually got sort of more depth to the painting on it. So it actually looks looks sort of much better. Also, improvements on it I've heard are the light inside is so much brighter. Whereas before it kind of emitted a light all the way through that you could see, but was also you could see all the wires inside. Apparently they frosted the glass along the panels and they've made the light brighter, so it looks a lot better. So overall, the improvements are good. The one thing they haven't changed is that it's still got 2 buttons on it, one of which doesn't do anything. So it's still got the dummy button. I think a few of us are hoping that they might have made the end rotate like the 720 version, and has now been seen on screen as well. So unfortunately that hasn't been fixed. I'll guarantee you they'll do another version of this where it does. I mean, that's almost inevitable, I think.
Yeah.
So this is a much, the paint apps on this are much nicer. The light's better. It's definitely the version to get if you haven't got one yet. But then again, I'm pretty sure they'll reissue it again soon with making that button do something. I wouldn't be at all surprised. I mean, basically what they've done is they've rushed out the Sonic to tie in with the new series. They probably weren't given a lot of time to get it together. And that's what you got. And now they've had a bit more time to, refine it and improve the packaging and the overall look of it. So, if you haven't got the Sonic or you want to get this new updated one, it's out there.
Yeah, I think this looks a lot better. It's got a slightly darker paint job because the other one was a very bright...
it was horrible and plasticky.
Really bright silver. So on this darker one, they've also used slightly darker screws as well, apparently.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so that makes a little bit of a difference. But more importantly, it lights up a lot nicer now. So I think on the current one, you'll be able to confirm this or not, but during the day anyway, when you hit the light button, you only saw a little bit of it in the top half of the Sonic and at the emitting bit at the end, and hardly anything in the base.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Whereas this one now, you can clearly see that the light, comes out of all the different little windows and stuff, which is good. It's just that bloody dummy button again. Get rid of it if it doesn't do anything.
That's why I think they're leaving it on to do, instead of making a new mold, they'll do a version 3 with the thing spinning, surely.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
That's got to be done, hasn't it? Yeah. Anyway, there it is. You haven't got a Sonic yet, but I assume you'll be waiting.
Well, I've got the American version, the 720.
Oh, yeah, you've got the 721, haven't you?
Yeah. Maybe I'll wait for version 3 then, of the character one where they do something with it. Yeah.
No, in character, there'll be version 25. I mean, I think, was it the 11th Doctor Sonic, or no, the 10th Doctor Sonic? They issued that like so many times, reissued it so many times. It was unbelievable. Anyway, yeah.
And last bit of merch to talk through is from Character as well. And that is they've put up the 5.5 inch 13th Doctor action figure to order. And won't be ordering this one, buddy. I don't know if you will be, but yeah. I just think that the face on this one looks absolutely nothing like Jodie Whittaker at all. Just doesn't look anything like her.
Did you see the previous photo? They had like a photo of the prototype.
Yep, they took it down there.
But the facially and also the stripe across her top was so much better on the prototype. Yep. I don't know if you.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't get what's gone wrong, because yes, they've improved other bits on this figure, but I don't know. Maybe it's the paint apps. I'm just a bit bemused by it, to be honest, because I will be getting it, obviously. But I think in some ways the sort of facially and that the prototype figure looked better, because the paint apps on this version that they've released, this picture of the version that they're sending out for people to entice people to buy it, to me looks really messy.
It's horrible.
It's the paint apps are dreadful on it. I just can't believe someone looked at this promotional shot and said, that's the one we want to get out there to encourage people to buy it. I can only assume they just know us Doctor Who fans will buy any old thing and think, like me, or look at it and think, well, I've got to have a 5th Doctor, I've got to have a 5-inch 13th Doctor figure, so I'll buy it anyway. But yeah, I can't believe that's the best. Imagine them in the factory. They've got to find one they've really, they spent ages getting the paint apps right, because everyone's going to see this promotional shot. And that's what it was beyond my comprehension, mate, because it looks a mess, quite frankly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks like one of the Eaglemoss figures that you get that someone's done on a Friday afternoon 10 minutes before they shut the factory. Like, oh, quick, finish that one off. Yeah.
It's
not impressed.
It's horrible, mate. I'm not. Yeah, certainly not. I mean, I wasn't going to buy it anyway.
I know you weren't. But I will. I'm just praying that the actual thing is better. I mean, it'll be one of those as well, I think, where you'll need to get it from the shop, because if you order it online, you're going to risk just getting a really badly painted one. You're going to have to get this from a shop and pick one that's half decent, because if this is a good one, imagine what the ones are like that have just been, because they're so mass produced. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, the coloured stripes down the front of her coat just are all smudged, and the yellow straps of her braces are all smudged and horrible, and her hair, it's got this, they tried to do this paint job in the hair where it's showing her sort of darker roots, I think, underneath her blonde hair, and it just looks like somebody's cracked on her head, and her face just looks nothing like it. Like, with some of the older character stuff, I've got a few of them, and like the older David Tennant ones, they kind of look like David Tennant, they're not too bad.
Yeah.
But this one, it looks nothing like at all. There's not even any... I think the eyebrows are there, and that's about it.
I just can't help but think character have given up with Doctor Who. It really does. Yeah. You look at some of the stuff they've produced in the past. They've been hit and miss, but they have produced some lovely sets in the past. And I'm going back a bit now, but the TARDIS sets, the original ones with the first Doctor and fourth and seventh, lovely sets. And Emperor Davros, the big egg.
Oh, yeah.
Davros, really great little set. And they used to really put effort in. Now it just seems like, I honestly almost wish that the BBC would give the license to someone else, because if this is their premium Doctor Who range, this and the Sonic with the dummy button, and do you know what I mean? It just feels like, oh, that'll do. Just shove it out there. They'll buy it, And they keep giving B&M all these exclusive sets, which, yes, the third Doctor TARDIS set looked lovely, but it was cheap as hell when you got it out the box. I mean, I love that TARDIS, the third Doctor TARDIS, the B&M one, but when you actually hold the thing in your hand, it is so cheaply made. I'm almost frightened to open the doors. They're so thin. And they're just like, I just don't think they really care anymore, mate, to be honest with you.
Doesn't look like it, does it?
No, well, I mean, this should have been wow, look, here it is. 13th Doctor figure, guys. Look at it.
Exactly. With the amount of sort of good press and hype and all the good,
come on, give
it to someone else. Give it to another manufacturer.
Yeah, I think so. If this is the sort of stuff they're churning out,
That's going to do anyway for news and merch. Our review this week.
Yes.
What is it?
What is it? So it's episode 6 of series 11, and it's called Demons of the Punjab.
We're in 1947, Pakistan.
And that Ombre, she's your nun, right?
Yeah.
How did we bring demons on ourselves?
I don't know, but we'll find out.
If I had to guess, I think we're going on in.
Tread softly. You're treading on your own history.
Ooh. We've been good this week. We've managed to keep our thoughts to ourselves. I haven't got a clue what you think of this episode, and you can't have a clue what I think of it, because I've been especially careful that after last week where we just both blurred it out straight away. I've been really careful this week not to say anything, and I know I haven't seen anything from you either, so I have no idea what you made of this episode.
Snap.
Which I like.
Yes, indeed. So this was the usual Series 11 affair, 50 minutes long. This one was written by Vinay Patel, directed by Jamie Childs again. It stars the usual TARDIS team and a fairly decent sized supporting cast. The story is thus. Yaz is sort of really, really keen to go back in time and see what her grandmother was like and what happened to her. We have a nice sort of bit of exposition at the beginning where her nan's giving them like little gifts to the family, and she gives Yaz a broken watch, and she's really intrigued to find out, about her granddad and the watch and so on. So she asked the doctor to go back in time. The doctor's very reluctant, and then for some reason, within snap of fingers, she's like up for it, and then we're back in not ancient, that's a terrible word. We're back in time a little bit in Pakistan, India. What side of the border are they on when they go back in time? Anyway, they go back to when a time in the late 40s where Yaz's nan is about to marry her love, and it's the partition of India's just sort of happening at that point. So it's another one of those historical episodes where there's a big important pocket of time and the Doctor's there going on. And while this is going on, these mysterious demons that they've been labelled as appear. It turns out that they're not quite what the Doctor thought that they were there for. And yes, we have another emotional sort of ending to the episode. And some decent character development for Yaz.
At last.
Yes. So another historical one, another emotional one. What are your thoughts on Demons of the Punjab, mate?
Well, I read a spoiler-free preview review of this the day before it aired, and my God, it filled me with dread. So it was a Doctor Who TV website did a review of this saying more of the same, lots of talking, no action, villain disappears without any threat, Whittaker not owning the right. And I was like, oh my God, everything about the review was just like it sounded like a review of the Saranga conundrum. Like, everything we were saying about the episode that was bad, they were saying about this episode, and I was like, oh no. So I was really like, not that I listened to reviews, but because of last week's episode, which we didn't enjoy, I read that and was just like, oh, here we go. So I sat down to this just expecting more of the same as of last week. And I was just like so pleasantly surprised. I absolutely loved it.
Oh, okay, cool.
I love this episode, mate. I know it was a little slow in its pace, but I was drawn into the story. For me, finally, Jodie actually stood up to somebody and showed more sides to her character, and I absolutely loved her in it, which I was, been wanting this for a while. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it, mate. I thought it looked fantastic. The music was incredible this week. Yeah. Some of the side cast, the acting let it down a little. But overall, I just thought I just really enjoyed it. I was quite surprised by the mixed reaction, really, when I went on Twitter. I shouldn't be, but I was. Because, I'd put it up there with Rosa in terms of how much I enjoyed it. I don't think the story was as strong, but I'm just talking about enjoyment levels. I just thought it was up there, Rosa. I found it incredibly powerful. Like the end scene when you knew Matey was going to get shot. I was quite literally on the edge of my seat, because you just think, you know what's going to happen to him. And it was quite horrible. You're almost in the shoes of the Doctor thinking, I know what's going to happen. Yeah. I can't do anything about it, but he's going, so you're waiting thinking, are they actually going to shoot him? Gosh, this is tough. So I just found it incredibly powerful, mate. So I really liked it. Yeah, really liked this episode. What about you?
Yeah, so I really liked it.
All right, okay. I was worried you were going to say, because a few people didn't. Some people were like, I switched off. I found it boring. It's rubbish. Doctor Who's dead and all this stuff. Yeah. I really liked it. It had all the makings of like one of those really cool, epic thought of, it's one of those episodes that, if nothing else, when you're talking about Series 11 in months or years' time, you'll be like, oh, do you remember Demons of the Punjab? It was one of those really nice historical things. So overall, I really liked it. It was great. Like you said, the music was beautiful. Stunning.
Segan is just, I've said it every single week, but I cannot wait for the Series 11 soundtrack. I think it's going to be one that's going to be played to death every day. Yeah. My only feeling on it is, and this is my only sort of overall negative feeling, is that I did want a bit more action in there.
Yeah.
And that's my own selfish reason. I realised that there couldn't be, because this is more about the emotional side of things with Yaz's nan and that whole situation and the whole partition going on. And so it's all about Umbreen and her marriage and all that stuff. I get it. And I think because of the quote unquote monsters this week, I think the Doctor built them up to be these really dangerous assassin type aliens. I thought, right, we could be in for a couple of really cool action set pieces a bit later on. It's going to be a bit, high octane, and then we're going to have a bit more of a emotional thing at the end. But they turned out to be just wet blankets, really.
I do kind of agree with that. And do you know what I think? I think it wouldn't have bothered me if we hadn't have had that every single week so far. Like if this had been sort of even one of 2 episodes where the villain turns out to be, a bit, oh, that's okay, they're not threatening sort of thing. But unfortunately, because we've had a whole series of that is, I will agree with you, even though I loved the episode, I did think to myself at the end, another one where the villain's just like does nothing sort of thing. I can appreciate your frustration with that, because I do think the same, even though I loved it. And I thought they looked brilliant as well. Yeah. I thought what were they called, those things? The demons? Were they just called demons? Yeah,
they were called the Tajarians.
Yeah, because I thought they looked great, They really look menacing. And I kind of love the twist that they turned out to be honouring and people and stuff. I kind of love that, but it's just unfortunate that it's fallen into a series where every villain's been so weak and stuff, and it's kind of had an impact on this episode as well, hasn't it, really? Because if you hadn't had that previously, I think it would have been a great twist, but because of it, you sort of got to the bit where they said, no, we're not bad. And you kind of thought, again? Sort of thing. It's a shame, really.
Yeah. It's don't get me wrong. I'm not going to criticize the episode because of that, because I fully understand why those things are there. It just feels like, and I will put my positive hat back on in a second, it just feels like we were another week into the series and we still haven't had the Doctor and the TARDIS team challenged by a scary, threatening villain. That's all it is,
I absolutely agree with that. And it does need to be said. No, I agree with you, even though I hugely positive this week in terms of this episode. But I will agree with you. It is another week where the villain has been a non-threat, and it's starting to get a bit annoying, isn't it? Starting to, we haven't had, one sort of decent, enemy yet, really.
Yeah, it just feels like the Doctor's not being tested,
challenged
enough by. Because I think the way that Chibbers has pitched this Doctor, which is evident to see, is that she's very, very human in this series.
Yeah.
She's very, it almost feels like if you'd never heard of Doctor Who before and you watched a couple of these episodes, you would think that she's just the leader of a gang of humans. You wouldn't necessarily pick her out as an alien. She doesn't really have... so she's very much grounded in humanity and all that stuff, if that makes sense. And,
I know what you mean by that. Sometimes when they try and make her alien, they give a dialogue of, oh, do I like purple now? Do I like sofas now? And sort of that sort of dialogue. And I always think it's a misstep, that. Because that doesn't make the Doctor alien. It makes him sound a bit thick, or her sound a bit thick, sorry. Because, Matt Smith Doctor used to say things like that. And the Doctor's hundreds of years old. He's not stupid. He's an alien. He's, because I always think, like, with Closing Time, for example. No, not Closing Time.
Closing Time.
What's the one with Matt Smith playing football?
Oh, the Lodger?
The Lodger.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, he's pretending doesn't know what football is. He's confusing it with cricket or something. I'm thinking, the Doctor's 900 years old. He's not a fool.
And he played cricket a lot before.
Yeah, and I'm just exactly. I'm just thinking he's been around. He knows stuff. I sometimes just think the writers confuse making him alien as as being confused by things, and actually it would be the opposite. He's travelled around. He knows all these things. There are other ways to make the Doctor alien than silly dialogue. You know, and I think it's a trap that they've fallen into, particularly with Jodie's Doctor, because, like you said, she is quite human, and she does keep coming out with these silly quotes. And but it doesn't make her feel particularly alien. No,
it's McCoy all over again. So when McCoy first took up the role of the Doctor, he was very comedic and funny. And then as he went on a couple more series, they then implemented that more darker more alien side to him. So maybe this is, history repeating in that respect, where at the moment she's quite down to earth and funny. There's nothing really that stands out as, she's alien or anything. But maybe in series 12 or 13, we might get to see a bit more. But I think that's down to the writing more than anything. I think she's probably really up for playing stuff like that. It's just the stuff that she's being given. I mean, in this particular episode, I think she was, we'll come on to it in a little while, but she was really, really good. I think now that Chibbers is out the way, for a few episodes at least, she's given a chance to not be locked into the techie talk so much. And she can, I don't know, I felt like the character integration and dialogue was a lot better in this one versus the last couple of weeks. But yeah, so I think just overall, the alien threat, the monster threat, although it was beautiful in a way, that their purpose was now to sort of be witness to people that die alone. That's a lovely thing. It just felt like, this is lovely and everything, and it's, I get it, but I just really wanted one of them to just freak out and just shoot one of them, and then it's on, and then it's game time.
Game is on. They turn back to. I kind of get what you're saying, because it's interesting really, because I watched this again yesterday, so I gave it a second watching, and I wondered if I would find it slow, because the first time I was really drawn into the story, and the pacing was a bit slow, but it wasn't boring for me anyway. I actually got quite sort of into the story, and I thought, well, I wonder if I have the same effect a second time, because I kind of know what's coming, but I really enjoyed it again yesterday. I just thought it was great, but I can see why, like you said about the lack of action. I worry for perhaps other viewers, particularly younger viewers. Is this gonna hold their attention?
Yes.
That's what I worry about, because we talked earlier about the viewing figures and they could, they've taken a bit of a dip, and I'm just sort of worried, because I want this show to appeal to a family audience again, which I think is what they were going for. But this is quite an adult in many ways episode, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So the lack of action only worries me in terms of other viewers, like younger viewers, really. It didn't bother me particularly this week, but I guess, I can see why some people might have been a bit bored by it, but I was thoroughly engrossed by it. I really, really sort of got into what was going on.
Yes.
Even though some of the casts are a bit weak, I kept thinking, God, if you'd got a stellar cast in this, it'd be phenomenal. Like, I thought everybody in Rosa, for example. Do you remember me saying when we reviewed it that even the supporting cast in the bar that were giving dirty looks were just bang on? Everybody was giving such a great performance in that. To me, that's the only thing really that slightly let this episode down, was that the supporting cast weren't quite up to the standard of those in Rosa. And I kept thinking, God, if they were, this episode I think would be phenomenal. Yeah, but that aside, I still thought it was really good.
Yeah, so that's sort of it really. That sort of negative stuff done and out of the way. So overall, I think we're both in agreement. It was a cracking episode.
Yeah,
really,
I
really
thought
good.
so.
Yeah.
I thought it was good, yeah.
Visually, again, it's one of those episodes that could have happily been a feature film almost.
Yeah.
Just the quality of the direction and lighting and cinematography and stuff is superb.
Oh, it's beautiful. Really nicely directed as well. Who directed this one? Jamie Charles.
Jamie Charles again, yeah.
He's directing the final, wasn't he? So,
the last two, yeah.
Yeah, direction was great. I kept wondering all the way through where they filmed it as well. I don't know, but I was thinking, where is this? It's a beautiful place. And apparently it was Provence of Granada in Spain.
Yes, yeah.
So, but it looked beautiful, didn't it? With the fields, all the different colour flowers. And there was a beautiful shot of the poppy in it, which I thought was a very nice little subtle touch to have in the episode, considering the weekend it went out, the Sunday it went out. But yeah visually amazing.
That's another thing to bear in mind as well. This did go out on Remembrance Sunday. And the theme of the episode, I suppose, was about remembrance rather than action and violence and killing, I suppose. So there is that to bear in mind as well. So visually, stunning, all that stuff. Are you happy with another historical? Because we don't really get them this close together. The accurate, striving for accuracy in terms of historicals. We don't really get two of them this close together in a series. Are you happy with another one? Do you think it was a good vehicle?
Yeah, personally, yes, I am, because I found it such a powerful episode that it really made me think long after it finished, long after I'd finished watching it. So it had an effect on me, and I think which is, the effect it was after. So yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm happy enough with that. Same way with Rosa. I was thinking about Rosa for days after I watched it, and this had a very, very similar effect on me. It felt like it sort of made me think about things that I never, that things that I know that have happened, but you don't sort of, you think of, you don't really sort of think about them and actually what actually they mean. So yeah, it did. I think I think it was good to have another historical. I think if you'd asked me beforehand, I might have said no. I'd have been like, no, I don't want too many boring historicals. But actually, no, I think it for me, it worked very well. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought so. Yeah. And it's clear that Chibbers wants to inject a bit of an educational point of view into it, because they could have done this with a more laid back, like the Fire of London aspect. They could have done it in that way, where it's just it's more of a big story going on over here. Oh, but there's the partition of India stuff happening as well. And, the doctors happen to insult some important Indian politician, and that's resulted in the partition and stuff. So they could have gone down that route. But you can tell that the Chibbers is quite keen to, have this more educational vibe about it, because it does strive for accuracy. And the same with Rosa. It was very accurate. Obviously not the doctor being there, but, no. Being around that important moment. It's another one of those important pockets again. And I think it strives back to this had lots of shades to me of Father's Day from Eccleston series.
Yeah, I was going to say that, yeah.
Where Rose is very keen to go back and see her dad. The doctor's like, no, this is a bad idea. That we'll come on to Jodie in a bit, and I've got some thoughts on her in versus how Chris Eccleston handled it. But and then we have the whole. So I think with Father's Day, that was more about a tiny isolated incident that we didn't need it spelling out that if anything went wrong, then Rose would have not been conceived and so on. Or she was just been born, but there was a problem with, it was a bit timey-wimey, whereas this one was more straightforward. It was cool the way the doctor was, tread carefully because you've not been born yet. So if things go wrong, you're sort of going to talk yourself out of existence sort of thing. And, so it was cool that that storyline and the doctor being there was an aside, if you like, to the main plot point of the partition and so on.
I did keep thinking, did the doctor learn nothing from Father's Day when she said, "Oh, go on, then I'll take you back"? I was thinking, "Oh, doctor, you never learn?" But I kind of like put it aside because I think it's part of Jodie's doctor's curiosity. It's like she almost can't help herself get involved. Like Yaz kept telling her off, saying, "Doctor, I thought we weren't getting involved." And she's like, "Oh, just a little bit." She's a bit like a naughty schoolgirl in a way. She's like, she can't help herself. And I kind of like that really, because you could say, well, the doctor wouldn't do that because of what happened at Father's Day. He'd just say, "No, we've done that before. It's not happening." But because she's got this slightly curiosity side to her that she just can't help herself. She gives in really easily, I think, which is good. The other thing is, though, you said about the two historicals, coming quite close together and stuff. Did the storyline slightly remind you of Rosa as well, a bit too much? I mean, because they were, again, forced to be part of events where they couldn't leave, really. I mean, well, they could, but they sort of were there right up until the point where he got shot. So again, they were sort of forced to witness stuff. And I thought, slightly similar to Rosa, but I don't know. There were a few bits that I just sort of felt a little too similar to it in a way, like the changing, events and all that sort of stuff, and letting events take their course has to be done. This has to happen. They have to be in a certain place. They must get married. I was thinking it's a little bit like, again, they're making sure history stays on track. So it was a little bit similar to Rosa in terms of story, I thought, in places. Not that it bothered me, but it was just something I noticed,
Yeah, well, the ending especially. So with Rosa, they just had to stay on the bus and not get involved. It was just a horrible thing to have to be witness to. And it's the same thing with this one at the end. I think they all knew that Prem was going to die when he went off to confront the soldiers. And as they're walking off, you hear the gunshot.
Oh, that scene.
That was horrible. So it does have similarities, where it's almost... The only main difference I would say is that throughout Rosa, they all knew that it was going to lead up to that historical point.
Yeah.
Whereas with this one, I think it was a bit more unsure about what was going to happen because I think things were in flux a little bit. And I think it was that little... Prem's younger brother. Was it Manish? Is that the character name, Manish? He was a little beep, wasn't he?
Yeah, with his little Harry Potter specs.
Yeah, I mean, you can't criticise in one point because you can't criticise somebody's belief system. You know, if they believe that that's how something should be, then that's it. You know, you can't criticise too heavily, but he was a little...
Yeah,
a little,
he was.
Yeah. So I think... so I think it was his ultimate decision that led to Prem, being killed and Umbreen fleeing and then heading over to the exotic island of Sheffield. So, I think things are a bit more flux. And at the end, it was very much like Rosa, where they knew it was happening. They just had to walk away. But good point, though, mate. There are some similarities there for sure. And also, for me, visually as well. Like with Rosa, this is one of the things that makes this series so cool in terms of its visuals and cinematography. It had like an old school sort of almost little sort of sepia tone to it with Rosa. And because this one was set, out in the outskirts of India and it's all quite sandy and stuff, it just felt like that as well. It felt like, it's not bright purples and blues and spacey and stuff. It felt visually quite similar as well.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I couldn't help but notice as well because they're in the glorious burning sun for pretty much all the episode. But did you notice when they went in the forest and found the guy who'd been shot? What was he called? The priest or whatever.
Oh, the holy man. Yeah.
The holy man.
Yeah.
Did you notice it was absolutely tipping it down? It was raining really hard because they were like... I was surprised they didn't sort of put a sheet over it because you could see it dripping all down. The doctor's coat was, and I was thinking, I wonder if they filmed that back here or if they had a sudden downpour or because they're literally 2 minutes later they're back to glorious sunshine. I mean, it was clearly filmed at a different time, but I couldn't help but notice it was really, I don't want to say the swear word, but it's really raining hard,
tipping it down. Yeah,
yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
No, it's. I did notice it briefly.
Yeah, it's only that scene, I think.
I thought, why?
So I just wondered if they'd pop back to Sheffield to film that bit because I kept thinking of the forest where Ryan finds the capsule in the first episode.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I wonder if they sort of, because they can't afford to film it all in Spain. I'm sure there are bits they do pickups, in different places and then make it look like the same location. Mm-hmm. I just wondered because it just, struck me as being a bit different.
Yeah. It still looked good though.
It did. I thought the episode looked fantastic. Yeah.
What did you think to the interior of the Assassin's Craft then? Because I thought that looked like a real badass kind of TARDIS interior almost. It was big and circular and had like the column or the thing in the middle. Because you mentioned earlier that they looked really cool.
I like the look of them. Yeah, you only really got a couple of shots where you could see all the eyes. They had like loads of eyes at the side of their face, didn't they? Loads of black eyes. And I thought they looked great. And I liked their spaceship. Yeah, it was very simple, wasn't it? It was just the colorings of it, the sort of dark tones of the actual inside of the ship. I just thought it looked really good. Was that, I don't know if that's all set or if it's half set CGI. I don't know, but it looked good, I thought. It was very simple, but I think for me, it just, really suited their... It was quite contained as well. So when they were sort of dragged back, when they come, that bit where they appeared behind the doctor and took her away, I actually was like, whoa!
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
I thought that was great. And then yet she's inside that, it was sort of felt quite claustrophobic, didn't it? It was like just a small room with them in it. Yeah. So, I thought that was pretty good, actually.
And the effects as well. When they showed the faces of people that had died, it was like this sort of holographic style. Do you know what I mean? Like this blue looking
I thought that was beautiful.
Really nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was quite heartfelt as well at the end where you saw Prem's face and he rises up and there's like thousands of other faces and stuff. It's quite nice. Yeah. I mean, that's what I was saying earlier. The concept of what these aliens are doing now, they've left behind because their world was destroyed, wasn't it? By something. So their new purpose, if you like, is to witness and be around for death when people are alone and stuff. So the premise of what they're about is really nice, and it's a bit emotional. I must admit, at the end of the episode, I did feel a little bit. Wasn't tearing up, but I did feel a little bit of a punch in the old heartstrings. Yeah,
I did. Yeah. For me, it really hit home. I think that coupled with the bit when you heard the gunshot and the doctor's reaction to it, I found it really moving.
Yeah,
that part of the episode. And I also like the bit when where when we got a flashback to what's the character's name? The main guy, the guy who got shot, Prem.
Yeah.
Prem, yeah. We got the flashback to him when he found his dead brother and he first sees the demons waiting. The first sees them, and I thought that was a nice, quite powerful moment as well. With him in the sort of soldier's tin hat and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was that. I thought visually again, it just looked great.
Yes. Yeah. What did you think to the Doctor making stuff again, albeit not with bolts and
I was like almost like jumping up and down with joy because we said last week on the podcast, didn't we?
Yeah.
We really hoped Jodie's Doctor would make things like the third Doctor did, because she did in the first episode, and we hoped she was going to do stuff like that, didn't we? So when she starts building this contraption with chicken poo and things like that, I was loving it, mate. I absolutely was loving it. I was like, yes, this is what we said. This is brilliant. And I love it when the Doctor makes things, just shows that they're clever. And so I love that bit. And I did think of you, and I thought about what we've been saying on the previous podcast and stuff. And especially and I'm just going to get this out of the way now, actually, especially and this is a very, I don't have a lot of negative to say about this episode, but one thing I do have that's negative is the overuse of the blimmin' Sonic.
That's a series-wide thing, though, I think.
It is, but it was particularly overused in this episode, I will say. So I was really pleased that she put the blimmin' Sonic down for 2 minutes and actually made this contraption. I thought it was really, really good. Yeah.
Very cool.
But that Sonic, mate, God, come on, that's got to go.
I think...
We need a pteroleptil. No, what the thing's called from Visitation. We need one of them to pop in and blast that thing.
Blast it, yeah. I know what you mean, mate. I think that's more of a series, because we've sort of complained about that a little bit on every episode, haven't we?
But it was it was worse than ever this week.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though, mate. It's definitely becoming a crutch for the Doctor, and she doesn't need it as much. No. But I did really like the fact where she sort of rallies me from, right, I need this and this. What was it? Tree bark, ox spit, chicken poo.
Because Graham made a great line about the ox, didn't he? And Ryan was laughing that he got a bit too friendly with him and stuff. I thought that was a brilliant little scene.
That was great. Yeah, I want a biscuit. What do you want a biscuit for? Everyone loves a biscuit.
Yeah.
I love biscuits or something. Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, that was a very Doctor Who moment.
It was.
I thought, when people say, it's not Doctor Who anymore, that... that to me shows it still is.
Yes, yeah. So in terms of like story stuff, I think, mainly, obviously, centres around Yaz. We'll come on to Yaz in a minute. Other than that, there wasn't too much else going on. We had the stuff with Umbreen marrying Prem, partition, and these aliens. These, at first it was the Doctor identifies them as these sort of dangerous assassins, but then she realises that they're not, and then they tell her why they're there and so on. So in terms of story, it's actually quite simple. There's nothing crazy going on. Yep. So let's talk about some characters. What did you think to the voice of the aliens then? Almac, was it Almac and Kisar, I think, were the aliens.
Oh, I didn't know they had names.
Oh, they might not have been. Hold on. Yeah, I think so. The guys in the suits weren't the voices of the aliens, but... so I think Almac and Kisar, I think, are the two aliens.
I would think so. Yeah. I don't know if they got named in the episode, because I certainly didn't pick up on it if they did. But I liked the voicing actually because it was they were kind of softly spoken, but also quite menacing.
Two women voicing it.
Oh right, yeah. Well, I liked it. Yeah.
No,
it was a good mix, I thought.
Yeah, it was that. Because I think if they were like growly and fierce, it would have made it a bit sort of predictable, really. But it's nice the sort of quietness. But even when they were being threatened by the Doctor and the guys, they were having the Doctor steals all of their little whatever they were stuck to the trees, and they came across as quite threatening because the Doctor wrongly identifies them because she wasn't aware of the history. So they remained just quietly confident even when they were being threatened, which is nice.
Yeah. No, I thought the voices worked well with the look of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had some other supporting cast members. We had the old holy man guy. He was quite good. He had a bit of a laugh and a crack with Prem at the beginning. Do you remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
About walking and, so that was quite cool. And he gets bumped off though fairly early on. What was his name?
The holy man.
The holy man. Was it Hakim? No.
I'm not sure. The funny thing is though, that is a bit of a plot hole though, because if he's been shot, surely the Doctor didn't need a sonic because she thought he'd been killed by the dust. I was thinking, well, he must have a blue and great bullet hole in him somewhere. Like, I'm a bit surprised that she didn't pick up on that, or the wonderful Sonic didn't pick up that there's a bullet in him, because he was supposed to have been shot, wasn't he?
Oh, he was killed by Manish, wasn't he?
Yeah, unless the planet dust heals them, or I don't know. I'm sure you can find a good reason to get around it, but I did think that when it was revealed that that he was shot, I thought, surprised they didn't notice that when they found him.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah,
but yeah, so the holy man, he was quite good. I think he was there for the wedding, wasn't he? He was going to marry the two of them, and
yeah, because at first I wasn't sure about the fact the Doctor married them. I was thinking, do we want the Doctor in the middle of it? But actually, I loved it, really. When she had a little flower in her hair and the way she delivered that performance, I thought was a really great moment, actually.
Yeah.
Because, it's just when they first said, you could marry us, I was thinking, it's a bit too convenient. And also, initially, I was thinking, well, wouldn't the Nan remember the Doctor married them? But then I was thinking, she doesn't actually see the Doctor at the start of the episode. So, yeah, it did work, definitely, for me on a second watch.
Yes. Yeah.
But initially I was a little bit like, I don't know, do we need the Doctor to marry them? Is that just a bit convenient? But anyway.
And then there were some other supporting characters, and you have to forgive me, I can't marry up the names with the performances.
No one will be surprised, and nor can I.
No. So then we had, was there a younger, was there a sister? Was Umbrine's sister there? Another woman.
Was that?
What was her name? There was another woman. Yeah, what was her?
What happened to her?
Was her sister?
I don't know if it's her sister. There was someone around at the start. I forgot all about her. Yeah. Friend, yeah.
Yeah. She was okay because she's been in Who before.
Yeah.
She's been in that woman, whoever she was. She's been in Doctor Who before. She was in Unicorn and the Wasp. She plays the housekeeper lady.
Yeah. So someone pointed that on Twitter. I didn't realise until I saw that. Yeah.
What was her freaking name?
No idea.
We're so terrible,
I know.
With performance and characters.
Our regular listener, Sammy Satine, will be going mad at us right now. Yeah. Come on, Garrett Adam.
And then we had the younger brother. He was Manish, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So what do you think's him then? He was the cranky, moody little, because he didn't agree with the whole, let's keep Muslims, Hindu and Sikhs, they've lived together for so long, and he just doesn't agree with it. He's all up for the partition, isn't he? He's all up for it. Yeah. Do you think he played that well as written? I think he's meant to be this sort of very angry young man who, do you think he played that well?
I think he was okay. I think he was decent enough. But again, a bit comes back to what I said earlier. I think if you'd have got somebody a bit more experienced in acting, I don't know. He was he was perfectly fine in the episode, but it wasn't that believable at the same time. I think you could have got someone who gave a stronger performance, and I think that really would have hit home if you did. But to me, he wasn't too bad. Yeah, he was decent enough, but I wouldn't say he was great.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah, I thought he was okay. Yeah. I think the thing that I liked was that he was written to be quite consistent throughout the episode. There wasn't any points in time where you thought, oh, is he going to come round? Is he going to be happy for his brother? Is he going to come round to it? But no, he was just adamant throughout the whole episode that, this was in his opinion anyway, this was a bad idea. And,
and there was that great scene where she tried to make amends with him.
Yes.
By offering him the food. Yeah. And he just was like, you've made a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They were like, oh, not on their wedding day. Yeah, I mean, as I said, you could have, if you'd have got a really good actor in that scene, I think that would have been, could have blown the socks off. But it was a little bit weak, but it did the job.
Yeah,
and it was by no means bad. It wasn't cringe. I wasn't sort of sat there thinking, God, he's awful. It was good enough, but yeah, it could have been a bit more powerful, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. What about Prem and Umbreen then, the young Umbreen, when we go back to the 40s? I thought the guy who played Prem was really good, Shane Zaza.
Yes, I did. Yeah. I really did like his performance. I thought he was consistently good throughout the whole episode, actually, from not wanting to reveal when he first saw the demons to the stuff with his brother to the scene at the end when he got shot. Yeah, really good performance from him, I thought. Yeah, not so much with Umbreen. I thought she was probably the worst one in it, really. Her acting was just incredibly stilted and wooden.
You think so? What, the young Umbreen?
The one playing a young Nan. Is that the one, Umbreen?
Young Umbreen, yeah. So Amita Suman. Yeah. Okay, so you thought she wasn't hitting the mark?
No, I didn't think she was particularly good at all. Okay. No, when they first arrive and she's pulling all these faces like, who are these guys? And she's being a bit sort of arrogant, and I just didn't find I particularly warm to her.
Right.
I didn't particularly warm to her character for a start. I think she was supposed to be quite a strong sort of female character, a bit like the Nan. When you see the Nan, you see her as the Nan years later. You can tell she's a strong personality that doesn't take any nonsense. And I think she was trying to play it like that. But to me, it just come across as a bit unlikable. And I just didn't think she was particularly great in her performance. But again, it wasn't enough to take me out of the story. And it certainly wasn't bad. It's exactly the same as I was saying with the other guy. I think if you'd got somebody else in there that gave her really shined on screen, I think it could have been much stronger. But
okay.
Yeah, she was okay. She was decent, but just not great in my opinion. No. Did you think she was good?
No, Rachel. No, I thought... I did think she was good. I don't think she was like standout, but I thought she was fairly good. I thought she had you see it as probably she's trying to mimic the sort of stronger, older version.
That's what it come across as.
Right? Yeah, I did see her as a very firm, sort of head on straight, knows what she wants to do, almost stubborn to a point. But no,
I suppose it's got to be because of the fact she's refusing to. Bow down to all this stuff with, the division, isn't she? So she's got to be stronger.
Yeah. I thought she was pretty good, though. I certainly didn't come away afterwards thinking, oh, she was terrible. But again, not standout, but I thought she was very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about Nanny Umbreen then? So we see at the beginning, at the end. Yeah, she's, she was played by Lena Dingra, and I thought she just had this wonderful sort of no nonsense with the grandkids kind of approach, if you know what I mean. She was very much when Yaz was questioning her about they were questioning about the gifts that she was giving out, and she just wasn't having any of the banter. And then when Yaz starts questioning her about, tell me about what happened with Granddad and the watch and stuff, she's obviously quite reluctant and doesn't want to go into it. And then it's really nice at the end when, they have that Yaz and they have that lovely moment at the end, don't they? Where Yaz is kind of respectful. She doesn't want to push it anymore because even when Umbreen's saying, I'll tell you about your granddad or whatever, Yaz is the one who says, maybe, another time sort of thing. Because she knows what she's been through firsthand. So she doesn't want to push it and then have that lovely moment. So I think as performances, I thought Mandip Gill and Lena Dingle work really lovely together when they're having the old Umbreen moments together.
Agree.
But she was great, though, the old Nanny Umbreen.
I like it. She said Yaz was her favourite as well. I like that little moment. Yeah, she was likeable, strong, funny. I thought it was a good little performance from her. That ending, you could kind of read two things into it as well, I think, because a lot of people, and I thought this at the time as well, were saying, well, wouldn't the Nan remember her? Like, you know, it does seem a bit odd. Wouldn't she remember Yaz being at a wedding? Because there wasn't exactly a lot of people there, but there is this sort of little look in her eye when she says, so do you want me to tell you about the watch then? As if to say, like, you don't already know. So you could read into it if you wanted to. But also, if you don't want to, you could just say she doesn't remember her. And I think it works both ways. It's not really something that bothers me in terms of story. I mean, I get why people are saying that. They're like, well, why doesn't she remember her? It's ridiculous, blah, blah. But I think you can get around it. I think it's not a big deal, I don't think. Because as I said, there's this little glint in her eye when she says about, do you want me to tell you then? Mm-hmm. And to me, I could just see her sort of thinking, because you do already know, but, you know, so I don't know. I think you can get around that pretty easily.
Yeah, I don't
think it's a big plot hole that some people are saying.
It's a tricky one because you're absolutely right, mate. I think it depends on how far you want to dive into that subject. You know, it's always going to, it doesn't matter how, I think some of the world's best writers can slave over a script to do with time travel for years. You're still going to have moments where it's like, well, actually, what about this bit? You know, what about that bit? And
exactly,
you know, you just have to sometimes, because there is an argument to say that because Nanny Umbreen is so old now that maybe she doesn't remember exactly. Because there have been moments in the past where I've been at a family thing, like Christmas or New Year or whatever, and I've, you know, sometimes when the old family photos get brought out and stuff, and I've seen pictures of me a lot younger at someone's wedding, and I have no recollection at all of being at that wedding, who was there, you know, but somebody else at the wedding might have a perfect memory and be like, well, I spoke to you, Gary, and you did this and we did that. But I don't have any clue whatsoever. So maybe it's the same for Nanny Umbreen. Maybe she's aware of everything with Prem and the watch and stuff, but maybe the people that were around at the time is just a bit fuzzy. Maybe. I don't know. It depends on how far you want to.
No, I think you're right, mate. I mean, and also in terms of the story, there was a lot going on, wasn't there? She's got a lot to deal with at that time. She's probably not really paying attention to someone that's just turned up for the day.
Exactly.
So, I think you can get around it pretty easily. It did lead to, you know, you're saying about that. There is a lovely scene between Yaz and Graham where they get a nice quiet moment to chat. And Graham's talking about secrets and, you know, everyone's got secrets. And, you know, we look at each other from the outside and all that sort of stuff. It's a lovely scene, and I think you could again apply that to it, couldn't you? That you don't have to, nobody tells each other everything. Everyone's got their own little secrets, and everyone remembers and views things differently to how the next person does. So I think that sort of explains it a little bit as well, that nice little scene.
Let's move on to the TARDIS team then, because I want to talk about Graham first.
Right.
Bradley Walsh. I think out of all of the emotional aspects of this episode, because like I said earlier, with Rosa, right from the offset, you knew that throughout the episode, they were going to have to lead up to that moment.
Yeah.
And in this one, we knew that things were in flux for a little bit. It wasn't as predictable, but it was not until that point where the Doctor tells them, look, he's going to have to die. You know, she tell them that Prem is going to be killed. Yeah. And it's that moment on where they're all, and there's that wonderful scene where Graham's just tearing up and he says to him, you know, you're a good man sort of thing. And he gives him a hug. Bradley Walsh, I tell you, every single episode, I'm just so grateful that he's in the show.
Yeah, me too, mate. Yeah. So that scene's lovely, isn't it?
It's so nice. And he plays it just bang on as well. He's not overacting. He's not trying to
milking it.
Exactly.
It's not cheesy. I know he's bang on the money.
He is, yeah. And who would have thought that Bradley Walsh, all the people that thought he would be just this light-hearted, almost Disney character, comic relief side person, you know. Yeah. It's just every episode he's just bringing the goods. I love Graham. I absolutely love him. Yeah,
absolutely agree. I'm just waiting. I just hope one week the Doctor turns. I just hope that one week the Doctor turns around and says to him, "Thank you, Graham, but please kindly refrain from referring to me as Doc." Because she's got to say it once at least. But no, he is, mate. He's absolutely brilliant. He's knocking out the park week after week. Yeah. The emotional stuff is. He's like Wilf though, isn't he? He's great at the emotional, and he's also really good at the little funny one-lines and stuff. He's the balance between the two in their performance. Bernard Cribbins and Bradley Walsh, they've just nailed that part. Yeah,
there are some similarities there.
Definitely.
Yeah. What about Ryan then? Because in the first part of the series, we did say that a lot of focus was on Ryan and his character development, and now that we've seen a bit of a flip over, so. In Arachnids in the UK, we met Yaz's family. We had a bit more development there. And now we've obviously got a lot more development for her in this one. So what did you think was left for Ryan in this one then? Because he didn't really... he was good, again, very consistent, great performance, but rightly so, a little bit of a backseat to Yaz in this one.
Yeah, it must be difficult for the writers. I think Chibbers has landed... Every writer that has to write for his series with this TARDIS team, there is quite a lot of baggage with all these friends, in brackets, companions, isn't it? Because it must be difficult to keep trying to think up things for all of them to do. Ryan definitely took a back seat this week. Not necessarily a bad thing, but he a bit like Bradley Walsh last week when he's got his hands in his pockets all the time. He looked a bit bored. He didn't get a lot to do. There was a nice moment in the spacecraft when he sort of shouted at Prem, tell us where you first saw him, it could be important, and all that sort of stuff. And so he got a couple of nice moments, but he definitely was more in the background this week, I think. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you're sort of aware that the writer's thinking, I don't really know what to do with them. And sometimes you sort of think maybe it'd be better if they just, it wouldn't hurt if we just had a companion stay at home for 1 week, if they're not going to contribute much to the episode. They could just be dropped off 1 week. I mean, I wouldn't want them to. I'm just saying it's, sometimes you are a bit aware that they're just in the background.
Yeah. No, I read you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it does reinforce the whole TARDIS team. They're very much a team in this series, aren't they?
Definitely.
Team TARDIS. Yeah.
Team TARDIS, yeah.
I thought his performance was good as always, though. He's great.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Nothing wrong with the performance, yeah.
Right, Jodie then.
Oh, don't forget Yaz.
Oh, crap.
Or did we do Yaz?
No, we didn't. No. Totally glossed over.
Yaz's Universe Without Yaz.
Yeah, one of the most important characters of the episode we glossed over. Mandip Gill then. Yaz.
Mandip Gill.
I would say she had a stellar performance in this one.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. In terms of I really liked her assertiveness at the beginning. So when she doesn't get the information out of Nanny Umbreen, she immediately goes to the doctors like, I want to go back in time and find out about what's going on, all the rest of it. She's quite assertive. And then when she lands there and she gets embroiled in the whole thing, she's got this really, really nice, inquisitive, but respectful side to her. She knows what's going on. She can see it unfolding before her. And how she doesn't burst into tears at several points in the episode, I don't know. Because you can tell that she's on the verge. She's quite. There are sort of little key points throughout the episode at the very beginning, at the very end, the bit where they're walking away when they hear Prem getting shot, the bit where she has no idea what these demons are about, and so on. So you can tell that there are key moments where she's confused, she doesn't know what's going on, but she wants to see it out because she's desperate to find out what's going on with the watch. How did that get broken? And Granddad and all that stuff. So, yeah, I just think she had a really, really good sort of range in this one, if that makes sense. She had a really great emotional. She's quite happy at some times, really sad at other times. Yeah, just Mandip's performance. I just really liked her in this one.
I did. I thought it was a lovely story for her. A really nice story for her, to I wouldn't say she was pushed to the forefront of it, but it was just a great story for her character, I thought.
Yeah.
And her performance was great in it. And so that moment when the watch smashes as well, I thought that was a lovely idea. He's like, "Oh no, I've broke the watch," and she's like, "No, it's cool because it's like, so it's the exact moment we got married. It's a moment in time." And a little bit cheesy maybe, but I loved it. I'm sure that's been done before, but I don't care. I thought it was great.
No, I read you. It's a really nice moment, and we're worlds apart, aren't we, from companions like Rose or Donna? Because if you think about what Rose was like, no. He's my dad. I'm going to do this and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Whereas, she's more she's more reserved, isn't she? When things are kicking off. Whereas Rose would be a lot more, a bit more EastEnders about it.
Exactly. Yeah. Worlds apart.
Yeah. Yaz is a bit more sort of quietly respectful and assertive when she needs to be, but yeah, just very cool. And then Jodie, then the Doctor.
Jodie.
So I'm 2/3 of me really, really liked her in this episode. I thought she had a cracking 2/3 of me really liked her in this episode. I thought now that Chibbers is out the way, we've got somebody else that can write her potentially some really nice stuff and some interesting stuff. And for the most part, I think they did. There's just a couple of things for me that just didn't. I just wish this Doctor was a little bit more firm at times, because it's a bit like anyone that's ever seen this is going to sound really weird. Anyone that's ever seen the Family Guy Star Wars specials will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's a guy, the way that they played Yoda in the Family Guy Christmas specials is how I see Jodie at the minute, where...
Explain.
Right, so in those Family Guy Christmas specials, Yoda's like, "No, I will not teach you the ways of the Force." And then they say something, he's like, "Okay, I'll teach you the ways of the Force." He has this sort of way about him, like, "No, we're not going to do this." Yeah, but okay, let's go and do it.
Yeah.
She's like that with things. Like Yaz is, I want to go back and see what happened to the watch and my nana and stuff. A Doctor's like, "No way. This is really dangerous. It could have implications and blah, blah, blah." Yaz is like, "Yeah, but this." And the Doctor's like, "All right, cool. Let's go and do that then. It sounds brilliant."
Yeah.
It's just these really quick turnarounds, these really fast. I just wish that she would just be like, "No." Let's give her a bit more of a dynamic or a bit more range in terms of her. Because I get it. Because I think right from the off, we've had this whole, when people ask for help, I never refuse.
Yeah.
We have all that. I get it. She wants to be Helpy Helperton and she wants to do all that stuff. Great. But it's just be more firm. If you feel that going back in time to see history that you're linked to and it's really dangerous and shouldn't be done, then say that and do it. Even though Mr. Eccleston did the same thing and made that mistake as well. Like you said earlier, does the Doctor never learn? We had all this problem with Father's Day before. And where it concerns Jodie, I loved her in this episode. I thought she was great. The technobabble was gone to an extent. She had a much better dialogue with other characters and she was making things again. It was all good. I just wish that she'd be a bit firmer with things. That's all it is. It's just this, I want to do this. No, it's bad. Yeah, but okay, let's do it then.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I do hear you, mate, because there is still that, I still feel like she needs, see, for me, I really liked her in this episode because she finally started to stand her ground a bit. And I think that's what you're getting at. I'd still like to see it go up a level, but for me, she was definitely more getting there this week. Like when she stood up to the Demons and she was like, I'm protecting these people. So, and that's the end of it. And I thought, okay, we're finally seeing a bit of fire from the belly from the Doctor here. Now this is more like it. And I thought she was charming in scenes. I thought the bit where Pren got shot, just her, reaction to it. So for me, she gave a lot better range of emotions this week. I finally got to see some fire from the Doctor, which is what I've been waiting for. Still not 100%, But I really enjoyed her in this episode. I just wish we'd seen more of it sooner, you know? Because she did her performance was much calmer this week, wasn't it?
It was.
Like you said, it's none of that silly old technical babble, maybe just a little bit, but nothing like we've had, you know, in previous episodes. So, yeah, to me, she was very good in this story. In fact, I loved her in it. I just want it to continue because I just feel like perhaps the writers are just not sure how to write Jodie's Doctor. So I'm a bit worried that next week we're going to go back to all the silly jargon again. Because I just, you know, the performance in this I thought was really good. And this is what I want to see more of, you know. But we'll see. I mean, I don't, you know, hopefully it will continue into next week. It's just, we should have seen this sooner. The other night I was flicking through the channels and I don't know which station it is, you'll know, but they're showing Doctor Who, and it's the old. They've started from Tennant's first series. Do you know which channel it is? Is it Play or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
And I just happened to switch over in the middle of New Earth, which is obviously Tennant's, you know, first proper story, you know, after the Christmas invasion or whatever it's called. And the scene I come to was when he's really laying down the authority. He's like, if you think there's a higher authority than me, there isn't one. And he's really going into it. And I just happened to turn over more or less at that exact point because he's like, what have you done to Rose? And I thought, I remember watching this back in the day. I'm not a big fan of New Earth, but I remember watching this back then and thinking, you know, Tennant's like really new as the Doctor. It's his first episode in his first proper series. Yeah. There's the Doctor right there, laying it on the line. You know, I want to know what's going on. I'm the authority. And I thought we still haven't had that moment from Jodie. You know, it's to that level. Do you know what I mean? I felt like she was great in this episode. She definitely was getting there. But then it was just so ironic to just turn over to that scene a couple of days later and see Tennant really absolutely owning that role in his first episode, which isn't even a very good episode in my opinion, but comes back to what I was saying before. He was really good in it.
Yeah.
You know, and I just, that's what I really want to see from Jodie. So I understand what you're saying 100%, you know.
Yeah.
We need to see more fire in the belly, if you like. But I did think she was great in the story. I did really like her in it.
Yeah, I did. I thought she was good.
I just needed to continue. We've only got 4 episodes left for her to really ramp it up.
Yeah, I think, but then again, we have had that in some of the previous episodes where she's kind of laying down the law a little bit. You know, she's like, this is, you know, not this planet, it's protected and so on.
But not, it's not been strong enough.
And then, we had it to a degree in this one where, like you said, she is being a bit firmer when she's first talking to the, whatever they're called.
I just keep calling them the demons because I keep forgetting that they're called.
Yeah, the Tajarians or something like that. She is a bit more firmer there, but it just feels like she's, I don't know. It doesn't even feel like she's sort of, you know, in the past we've said she's 80% there or 90%. It doesn't even feel like that now. It just feels like she just needs like a real gritty, we need someone to die. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh dear.
We need an episode where right off the bat, somebody just gets shot in the head.
And she really goes for it.
And she really goes for it. Not even the TARDIS team, but somebody, you know, quite important in an episode. And a real nasty, scary monster to really pose a decent threat. I think we just need a real gritty story. And, you know, I know it's predominantly a wide age sort of viewership for Doctor Who. I know a lot of kids watch it and stuff, but I really feel like we need a scary, something bad happens, kids off to bed, you know, sort of episode. I really feel like we need one of those because it has been very, you know, quite light and emotional and which is great. It's all good, but I honestly feel like we need a belter of something bad happening to her.
Yeah, no, yeah. I do agree with you. I really do. Yeah, we need to see her absolutely taking control and sorting somebody out, you know, because, that threat level has been massively missing so far this series. Yeah.
And I thought we were going to have it when those demons turned up.
So did I, yeah.
And they looked awesome. I thought, hold on. things.
And the thing in her head as well, it was like proper like, oh, who are these guys? You know? Yeah. We really need it. Yeah.
That was another thing. Yeah. So when they spoke to her, I suppose, in her head, it was this really nasty voice, and it was quite disturbing. I thought, this is going to get tasty. This is going to be a good one. But then, like I said, for reasons to the story, it turned out to be a very nice thing that they do now. But I thought initially this is going to get tasty. But
and also Segan's music, you know, that first reveal where they sort of appeared on that hill looking over at them, and it did that typical creepy horror, you know, almost scratching the walls type music. I thought, oh God, you know, these guys, So we need something like that next week, hopefully, that is scary, looks great, and that she actually sorts out. But I don't know.
Yeah, because I think, like Rosa, it did turn it around to be so the demons, metaphorically, of the story weren't the demons; it was humans again. We've seen that a few times, but
yeah.
There we go. Segan's music, though, crikey!
Oh, brilliant! And also the end theme. How beautiful was that? We got a different version of the end theme with, you know, like this Indian vocal. It was so sparse, and then it built, and my God, it was gorgeous.
Lovely,
it was just gorgeous. Yeah. Again, I sat there thinking, when is the soundtrack coming out? I want it now.
I tell you what, if they don't bring the soundtrack out sharpish, there's going to be riots down
Please don't let it be another 3 or 4 year wait. Please.
Oh God, it's lovely. I think, all worries aside, because Murray's knocked it out of the park for the last God knows how many years, but yeah, Segan's just.
It's a totally different style.
Yes,
you know, when people sort of say, "Oh, Murray," it's a different style, a different feel, and I love it.
Yeah, it's not any better or worse. It's just different.
It's just this different style. Yeah, and it works really well with the episodes, I think.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Anything else you want to mention on this before we listen to our listener?
Just a couple of things. What did you think about, so right at the start of the episode, Graham mentioned some adventure they've been on with, I think he says killer turtles or something. The Turtle Army. What do you think? I think that's the second time they've kind of mentioned an off-screen adventure.
Yes.
And I can see Nick Briggs rubbing his hands together thinking, Big Finish can do that one. So what do you think about this, the fact that we're hearing about stuff that we're not seeing on screen? Is that a good thing?
I think so. Yeah. I think it just fleshes out the fact that, these guys are off on, because if you think about it, they've kind of ditched their everyday lives, haven't they? So
it sounds like it. It just makes you wonder how long they've been traveling together, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, as long as Chibbers doesn't go down the timey-wimey arc that Moff sometimes sort of dabbled in, then I think it's fine. I think if you just allude to the fact that they've been on some other adventures, which is great, it leaves up to your imagination. You don't have to have everything fed to you.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
And the other thing I want to mention, just very lastly, is we got to see... we got a little scene in the TARDIS at the end, and those crystal thingies were moving up and down at the top of the... the little crystal columns. There's like this little finger moving up and down at the top of the column. I'm like, well, we haven't seen that before, I don't think. And it looked awful, didn't it? I was like, what's that? Is the set falling down? What's happening? Because you've got the time rotor wobbling away in the background. And I think the director said, Jodie, if you can just, when you say your line, if you can just move in front of the column so we can hardly see it because it looks terrible. And then you get this thing moving. What's going on that TARDIS set, mate?
Yeah, mate. It's
not working, is it?
It's not.
Really, it's not working.
No. If you think when halfway through Matt Smith's era, they unveiled that newer TARDIS console, it was a lot larger in scale and lit beautifully and all that. Everyone went nuts over it. And it was a talking point. Whereas this one, I've not got into conversation with hardly anybody about the TARDIS other than just how dull it looks.
And it looks so cramped. I almost feel like they can't get the cameramen in there. Everything's so close up, isn't it? It really is not working for me at all. I'm wondering if we're going to see any other room as well, because I said to you a couple of weeks back, we've got the biggest TARDIS team in years and the smallest blimmin' TARDIS console. Like, are we going to see any other bits of it? Because I don't think we are, actually.
It doesn't feel like it. It feels like the focus is not at all on
it feels like the Chibbers didn't even want it in the series. It's like, just a quick scene in the TARDIS, and it's not working for me at all. Very lastly, somebody spotted my good friend Ellie. Actually, well, I say good friend, I've only met her twice, but lovely person called Ellie, who I've met. She spotted a camera poking in at the side of the screen in one of the shots. Did you know?
Someone else put that on Twitter. Yeah,
she freeze framed it and circled it, and I obviously when I was watching it the second time, I was looking out for it, thinking, where's that camera? And I did spot it. And I thought, gosh, how did that get through? Part of me loves it, though, because it reminds me of the classic series where boom shadows would come in shot and even microphones sometimes. So it shouldn't be there in this day and age, but I kind of like the fact we had a camera creep into shot. Maybe it was even done intentional I don't know. But I liked it. Did you spot it, though, or not? Because I didn't. It's only because it was pointed out by Ellie on Twitter.
No, so somebody else had screenshotted it and put it on Twitter. I didn't even notice it was but it doesn't bother me at all, mate. It's just no. It does have little flashes of sort of classic brilliance about it, classic Who, you know. But I don't think it was intentional. But
no, I don't think so.
No, it's cool though.
Cool. And that's it. That's all I've got on my notes, I think.
Righto. Okay, it is you to go first.
It is me to go first, and despite we've mentioned a few negatives and things where we wish could be improved, but despite those things, and I don't want to be accused of who is it on Facebook the other day accused us of being contradicting myself, because it probably sounds like I've been a little negative towards this episode. All the things I've pointed out in terms of faults this episode, I can overlook because of the amount I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. And I found it incredibly powerful. So I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
A 9?
I loved it. It's
nice.
It's right up there with Rosa for me. Yeah, a 9.
Okay. I'm going to be close to you. This is an 8.5.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What did you rate Rosa? Let me have a look.
Rosa, I rated that a 9.
A 9. So this is so actually we're in line with each other. We're about 0.5 under Rosa, which is where I think we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Yes. I thought this was a cracking, beautiful episode. Really nice. I think, do you know what it is? I think it's more the overall story elements that are affecting it 100% for me. It's just the overuse of the Sonic, the Doctor not being quite as strong as I feel she needs to be. And we still haven't had a real terrifying monster still.
Yeah.
But as an isolated episode, I think it's very, very good. Really enjoyable. Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah. Righto. Let's we've got a load of audio reviews in this week. So thank you so much for all you guys for sending those in. We're going to kick off with a couple of those before we jump over to the other social stuff. This is a new audio reviewer. This is Kathy Scott.
Hello everyone, Katie here giving her thoughts about the new Doctor Who episode, Demons of the Punjab. So, first things first, I really enjoyed the visuals of this episode. They had a very high production value as always. The soundtrack was just beautiful. I liked it that they included like little bits of pieces from the music they made in this region to make us even feel more involved into the story. The story itself was good. It was interesting, at least for me. And the villains were something we hadn't seen like before, which I also really liked. They were something new and I could relate to what they were doing. So what I might criticize about this episode was that for younger viewers it might be a bit hard to keep track of what was happening, since this episode was a bit very drama oriented and they might lose interest in what is happening, even though for viewers like my age, for older viewers, they would really enjoy this episode like I did, I think. It also made me shed a tear in the end, so I think it made me also emotionally tied to the characters which were involved, which is always very good. Overall, I would give it a 8 out of 10.
Cool.
8 out of 10. I do share the fears about the younger audience as well, being engaged in it, but yeah.
Yeah, cool. And
8 out of 10.
Kathy was worried because English isn't her first language, but no worries there, Kathy. Everything perfect. Let's continue with the audio stuff. This is TARDISnet 66.
Okay, so Demons of Punjab. was exactly the sort of story that we needed after the Saranga conundrum, or however you say that title. I just thought it was excellent. It's great we're getting great new historical stories in this series that are very educational. I didn't quite like it quite as much as Rosa, but it was still a great episode. It was very educational. It was all about the partition of India, which is a subject I didn't really know a lot about. But it's also a very touching and a very emotional story. As it was also a great character piece for Yaz as we delved more into her character. So overall, I thought it was a great story.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a good story. Yeah.
It was. Let's do a few tweets. We won't be able to read all of them because you guys are coming in large numbers now, but we'll breeze through a few of them. Little Bits of History said, loved it. As a lover of Indian history, a view to learn a lot of authentic facts and concepts. Really glad that each episode has tried hard to teach a real lesson beyond warm fuzzies. Shot beautifully and a nice, concise story. Paul Starkey says, his Twitter name's funny, Lunar Werewolf. I enjoyed this one a lot. The writing quality was a lot better. I just wish the Doctor had more urgency. Too often the TARDIS team have been bystanders this season, making them no different from the compassionate aliens.
Yeah, good point.
Craig Matthew says, spent a lot of time shouting at the TV for something to happen throughout. Unnecessary aliens took too much time away from the threat of evil resistance whose entry seemed too sudden and late. Also, our friends seemed too safe on their travels. Not bad, but another average story, 6 out of 10.
Okay.
As Matt Mahmood says, the best episode of the series so far. Jodie came into her own in this episode too. All the companions were great, but especially Yaz, who got a much-needed spotlight. 8 out of 10.
Yes.
Davros says the story was engaging and the characters were actually characters I wanted to know what happened to, unlike the last 2 weeks. Beautifully shot and scored. Downside, aliens were weak and not needed. Doctor far too passive again, but overall a 7.
7, okay.
Let's have a breeze through some other people. J.H. Horton says, absolutely phenomenal. Refreshing to have empathetic aliens and another brilliant way of illustrating the past through sci-fi. Very poignant for the day it was broadcast on and fantastic emotional weight throughout.
Oh,
very good. Let's do another couple of audio clips. This is Matt Rowley.
Yay.
Hey there guys, it's Matthew here from the Hurricks, and it's been a long time since I've done an audio review for the Big Blue Box podcast, but I hope you and all your wonderful viewers are well. Now, Demons of the Punjab, I am so happy that we have got over the horrible slump that we had last week with the Saranga conundrum, which I thought was dreadful, and we've picked right back up again with Demons of the Punjab. What I would say to sum it up is, it's not the episode that I wanted this week, but I'm happy to have it. I thought, overall, it was another lovely character piece. It was, a little bit like Rosa in that respect. It was a story where the villain didn't have to be unbelievably good, so I can sort of accept that. But again, the character writing was amazing. The Doctor, I can finally say, has arrived. I thought Jodie had her best episode yet. She was amazing. The companions, again, were all absolutely fantastic. The setting, the direction, the music, everything else, that's just it's just normal for that to be good this series. All of that was amazing. And the twist with the villain as well was good. It was nice to have something a little bit clever going on with the villain. Yes, it wasn't as threatening, but I liked how it turned out that the Thura, whatever they were called, they weren't the villain in the end, and it was, in fact, Prem's brother, which was a nice twist. Couple of nitpicks. I thought that the Sonic was way too much overused, and that's a problem that started sort of annoying me a little bit as the series goes on. I think she needs to start putting the Sonic away. And some of the side casts, like Prem, were as wooden as the hut that they were living in. So, overall for me, I think it was an extremely solid episode. Series 11, I'd say is back on track, and I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
Cheers, Matt.
Thank you, Matthew Rowney. I totally agree about the Sonic.
It is a problem.
Poor old Prem, though. He was good.
It was good, yeah.
Yeah, cheers, Matt. Good to hear you again, mate.
Over on Twitter again, Doctor Who, Time and Space. Such an improvement on the last few. Not brilliant, but I did enjoy it much more than I expected. Looked beautiful. Jodie was great, but there were too many companions.
Yeah.
7.5. Theta Sigma. Nope, that's commenting on the exhibition. Very sorry. Jamie Aspinall says, Demons of Punjab is the best episode in the series so far. 1 billion patings better than last week's.
Mm-hmm. Pating.
Let's have a look. Harry Brown says, almost like someone read the script for Rosa and thought to copy it, not with brilliant results. Still good on finally giving Yaz some stuff to do. 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Let's do another last couple on Twitter. Sarah Louise Baggett, the running Whovian, says, I found this to be a beautiful story, thoughtfully presented and a great history lesson made more poignant being aired on Armistice Day. The cast delivered good performances. Jodie came into her own as the protector and the monsters were very scary until the twist, which I enjoyed. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Nice.
Yeah. Let's do more audio clips. This is from Down Under, Sammy Satine.
Hey, Gary and Adam, Sammy Satine here. So, the Demons of Punjab. Well, I learned something. That was good. I like the historical stuff, meeting Yaz's nan and finding out why Yaz was given the watch. I just think, once again, we had yet another non-threatening alien. Though they did something rather lovely, witnessing deaths of people whose death otherwise wouldn't be witnessed. But, despite this being good, it was not the episode I needed from Doctor Who this week. I don't feel like any of this would have made the kids hide behind the sofa, do you? Anyway, I give it 8 Yaz's nans out of 10. See ya.
A frustrated Sammy Satine there.
Indeed. Yes. Right, let's carry on with the audio clips, actually. Remember Ian Stevens, who was a regular audio reviewer from a while back
Ian
now?
from France?
Ian from France, yes.
Oh, yeah.
He's back. Did he like it or did he not?
Hang on, I thought he'd disappeared into the vortex.
Let's have a look, see if he liked it or not.
Hello people, Ian from France here to talk about Demons of the Punjab. I mean, honestly, where do you start? I did not know that Doctor Who was capable of being this bad. It's bad sometimes, of course. Time and the Rani, I'm looking at you. But this was a new low. I think we were meant to be impressed by the writer's historical knowledge and somehow feel guilty for being British. I think that was the idea. Whatever, I wasn't and I'm not. Instead of being entertained, we were bludgeoned into a sensation of utter tedium, with scenes dragging on unnecessarily, going for cinematic, achieving soporific. It was awful. As I was watching, I finally relented and looked at the runtime. Something I tried to avoid doing, expecting to see that there was 10 minutes to go, only to discover, to my horror, that barely half of the blasted episode had aired. Jesus Hector Christ. We've now had 3 duds in a row, each one progressively more stultifying than the last. If this were an afternoon movie aimed at the bereft of thought, I would suggest it had failed. As an episode of Doctor Who, I think it's the worst ever. Warriors of the Deep is to this episode as Empire Strikes Back is to the Phantom Menace. Sadly, I fear the demise of our beloved show. Imagine being an 8-year-old and watching this. Would it excite? Would it captivate? Would it fire the imagination? I don't jeffing think so. Unbelievably bad. I am furious. I don't even care what happens next week. I couldn't give a damn. Terrible. 0 out of 10. Naught. Nada. Zilch. Rien. And Jodie's not good enough either, unfortunately. I feel better. Merci. Ça suffit. À bientôt, mes amis.
That's it, Ian. Get it off your chest. Get it all off.
Wowzers.
Whoa. So, do you think he liked it or not?
I think it's safe to say that Ian is not enjoying it quite as much as he'd hoped.
No. Do you think he's listened to our review, or do you think he's got halfway through and thought, what story did you watch? He's probably switched off. Ian, I hope you are still listening. It's good to have you back, because we thought the Moffat era had finished you off, mate. We thought you were a goner.
Yeah. You were not happy with some of the Moff stuff back then.
Seems like the Chibbers pushed into a whole new level.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what though, mate. once again, I'll say that I would rather have people an opinion either way. It's much better than to be indifferent, rather than just sit there on the fence like, I'll take it either way or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't mind.
Yeah.
I'd rather people, because that's what the show's meant to do. It's meant to, give you something, make you feel a certain way. And for Ian, obviously makes him feel like he wants to jump out the window by the sound of it. But Ian. Anyways.
Oh dear. Anyway, well, yeah.
Hopefully, Ian, next week might be a bit better for you. Bit of kablamo.
Kablam.
Last audio clip. This is Martin Arnold.
That was a stellar episode. Incredibly gripping. Very well written story. The guy who played Prem was an amazing performance. Very moving. I thought that did the political, historical narrative very, very well. I personally find it baffling to hear from people who think that shouldn't be in this show. Sci-fi has always been about social and political commentary, and I hope that Doctor Who continues to follow in that tradition. I just think it was amazing. The soundtrack this season has been absolutely brilliant. This guy has done an incredible job. I thought the reinvention of the theme at the end was really well done as well. And I'm not going to score it. This goes beyond points. It was just a stellar piece of television. Thank you very much.
Wowzers. You couldn't have two more contrasting reviews, could you?
It's difference of opinion.
Difference, indeed. Yeah. Let's do finish up on a few over at Facebook. Kevin Mullen says, simply stunning. At last, Jodie gets to be the Doctor we know she can be. Beautiful as always to look out. Magnificent and possibly better than Rosa. 19 out of 19.
19? None on 19.
Yes. Rob Irwin. The monsters in this episode would have been more interesting if we weren't already on a string of episodes with villains who aren't villains and don't do much. Graham stole the show with his scene with Prem after learning the latter was about to be killed. Jodie's performance was a bit all over the place, and tragically, what must be the Yaz episode of the series, she didn't get to do much, except be the reason they went to Punjab in the first place. Still solid, 8 out of 10. Ulrich Hillmeister. I loved that episode, but I missed an answer to how the Doctor got her TARDIS back.
Oh, there was a throwaway line, wasn't there? Because a lot of people have said this. There was a throwaway line about a teleport or something.
Something, yeah.
There was something in there. Yeah. It was a bit weak, but anyway.
He says, anyway, go on with historical episodes like that. The Doctor only watching without meddling with history. 9 out of 10. Lawrence Baxter, 8.5. Thomas Richard says he loved the episode. Really enjoying the historicals. The monsters were better used in this episode than in previous historicals. The threat came more from the time period and the dangers of the time rather than the villain faffing with time. Gave Yaz some great moments and her future grandmother also. Joseph Howarth, 9 out of 10. Jessica Leffelman, 9 out of 10. Rob RK says, really enjoyed the episode. That's not to say I haven't enjoyed all of them, some more than others, but this week was something different. And that has to be commended. It gives it 8.5. Dale Smith, 10 out of 10. Chris Parry, 9 out of 10. Miles McKenzie, 8.5. And lastly, Jeff Waddle says, a wonderful historical episode. Back to the good old days.
Yay!
In this roller coaster of a season. Goes to show, and the episodes would back it up. Chibnall can't write great Doctor Who. Jodie written much better here, but I'm still waiting for her Doctor moment. I'm still not sure if the writing for her is not spot on. The story itself was simple enough, wonderful acted, but that's 6 weeks now we've not had a decent villain. Gives it a 9 out of 10 though.
9 out of 10. Yes, good stuff, Jeff.
Yes. So apologies, guys. I can't read out the full review on Twitter or Facebook. There's just so many now, but it's lovely, and we'll breeze through them and give your total score. I assume you had loads of comments on the Geeks Handbag.
I did, mate. Yeah. Yes, I had loads. Mostly positive. In fact, quite a lot of positivity over on Geeks. Most people enjoying it. A few people who didn't, but yeah, it was probably about 90% giving it a thumbs up over on Geeks Handbag.
I see.
Yeah.
Fairly positive then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so next week then we're rolling into episode, what was it, 8 next week? 7?
7.
Sorry.
Yeah, I keep getting confused as well. So, yeah.
So what's next week then, buddy?
Well, next week is Kerblam, Delivery for the Doctor. I believe it's the full title. Kerblam! And it looks like it's set in some sort of Argos futuristic warehouse or something. I don't know. I love we got a sort of short, get another 10-second preview of this robot thingy, which looked quite great, showing the Galaxy-esque, didn't it?
A little bit. Yeah.
Looked a bit like the Busking Doctor. So I don't know about this one. It'll go one of two ways. I think it'll either be completely fall on its you know what, or I think it's going to be a great fun adventure. I just hope we get some fun and some fun and some threat would be good.
Yes, that would be good.
That would be good. And just before you click that theme tune, hot off the press. It won't be actually by the time this podcast go out, but we're recording this on Wednesday, and some of us, including myself, have got our Doctor Who magazine a day early. And on the back page, it's confirmed that we're getting a New Year's Day special.
Oh,
no Christmas special. Yeah, people have screenshotted it and put it all over Twitter. And my Doctor Who magazine's right in front of me on the table in its cellophane. So. Yeah, but it's on the back page. It says in next month's issue there's going to be a preview of the New Year's Day special. So hot news now, but you'll be getting this 2 or 3 days later when it'll be old news. But there it is, confirmed.
I wonder if the Doctor will go back and visit previous incarnation, because there was a lot of fireworks and kissing going on with one Doctor's New Year's Day story, or New Year's Eve, whatever.
Yeah.
Mabes.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Paul
but anyway,
McGann needs to come back. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But anyway, back to next week, and it's Kerblam.
Kerblam exclamation mark. I think we'll do there for 209.
Okay.
Thank you for sticking with us for 209. Bit of a long show, this one. But we did have chock-a-block news and merch to go through. Plus, we spoke at length about Demons of the Punjab. So, if you've made it this far, thank you very much for sticking with us. It's been awesome. And thank you so much to all of you that sent in reviews, audio clips, commented on Facebook and Twitter, all that stuff. It's all very much appreciated. Thank you muchly. Next week, very interesting synopsis. Kerblam.
Kerblam.
But next week, we'll see how that goes.
Oh, please let it be good.
Well, the Chibbers is not involved again, so
hopefully.
Potentially. I did say this last week. I said the next 2 episodes are going to be very good, I think. So I think next week will be a good one.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so indeed, yeah. In the meantime, though, head over to the website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our previous episodes on there, and you can link off to all of the social accounts to give us a like and a follow and stuff. We chat lots of Doctor Who and all that stuff during the week between episodes going out, and also subscribe to us on whatever podcast network you currently listen to. iTunes is the largest one, I suppose. There's a big button on the website to link off to that. By subscribing, you obviously won't miss a show when it goes out on a Friday. And if you're an iTunes listener, if you could spare a minute for a review, that would be awesome, because that really helps us lots. Also, check out Adam's channel, The Geeks Handbag.
Yeah.
Nip over to YouTube, just do a search for The Geeks Handbag. You'll see his little face pop up there. Just give him a subscribe. Loads and loads of cool videos there. Awesome stuff. You'll lose yourself for ages just going through his playlist. It's very, very cool. And you're also on the normal social stuff, aren't you? Under the same
posting
name.
Pictures of all the stuff I've been buying every blimmin' day. Yeah.
Yes. So just do a search for The Geeks Handbag and all the social stuff. Give Adam a follow. Again, loads of cool sci-fi Who chat during the week. Yes. Until next week, have yourselves a cracking time. We will see some of you at the BFI on Saturday for Earthshock, which will be very cool.
Yeah.
And look out for the social post on Monday for Kerblam. And until then, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember...